just got in from New York?
I don't know you. Go away!
But I have the letter you sent. Look, it's really raining hard. If you just let me in and I'll explain.
Go away! Go away!
Dario Argento helped create two of the most talked about horror films of the 1970s, both in the same 2-year period. 1978's Dawn of the Dead, where Argento, a frequent collaborator of George A. Romero, earned a producer's credit and helped score the movie, and his most famous horror movie, the often discussed 1977 supernatural horror film, Suspiria. An example of giallo.
She had discovered that the Tam Academy was founded in 1895 by a certain Helena Marcos, a Greek immigrant, and that the local people believed her to be a witch.
A style of Italian horror and murder film named after the yellow paperback pulp novels published by Mondadori, and coming to encompass a certain stylistic choice in cinema with slasher, thriller, psychological horror, or sexploitation elements, or in the case of Suspiria, supernatural elements. With excessive violence, vivid colors, and stylish visuals, Suspiria is one of the most easily recognizable examples of giallo.
Be now to count the steps as they go.
As the vivid colors throughout the entire film are incredibly memorable. It was a low-budget film like the cheap pulp novels of the style the film was named for. It cost just $4 million to make, starring Jessica Harper as the ballet student Susie Banyan, who moves to Freiburg, Germany to attend the prestigious Tanz Academy, a ballet school known as the best in Europe. But things quickly get very strange, as it becomes apparent that the Tanz Academy is a witch's coven. Argento saw Jessica Harper in Phantom of the Paradise, and she turned down a role in Annie Hall to do Suspiria. Also starring Stefania Casini, Flavio Bossi, Miguel Bose, Barbara Magnolfi, and the former silent star Joan Bennett, who was also in Dark Shadows as Elizabeth Collins Stoddard. Argento and his partner Dario Argento wrote Suspiria based on the 1985 essay collection Suspiria de Profundis. The second work from Thomas de Quincey, whose first collection was called Confessions of an English Opium Eater. Each essay had a theme relating to consciousness or memory. Suspiria as a film pulsates with a trippy, psychedelic oversaturation. The dialogue is weird and discordant, especially as the movie was clearly shot in Italian by the Italian actors and actresses, then dubbed over into English. Argento's early work was with Sergio Leone, whose westerns, including Once Upon a Time in the West, which Argento and Bernardo Bertolucci co-wrote with Leone, were always shot with actors speaking whatever language they spoke and then dubbing over it. It's a classic of the witch coven genre, and is known as one of the most unsettling and psychologically frightening movies of the era. It was shot on Technicolor, one of the last movies to be processed on the last Technicolor machine in Rome, using the same imbibition process as Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind.
Looking for Sarah? She's disappeared.
But that's impossible. I just talked to her last night.
She left this morning, as a matter of fact, without telling anyone. Just packed her bags and left. She was here leaving about 6.
And inspired by the colors in Snow White, which Argento tried to replicate. Argento and Niccolodi were also inspired by Pinocchio, Bluebeard, and Alice in Wonderland, hoping to create a fairy tale nightmare. The score was written by Goblin, the Italian progressive rock band, whose collaborations with Argento have been compared to Morricone's and Leone's, especially since they'd record and write the score before the film was even shot. It kicked off what Argento called the Three Mothers trilogy, a trilogy of films including Inferno and Mother of Tears. Each one is a different head witch at the center of it. Suspiria only made $47,000 at the box office initially, but became a huge hit in Italy and then has become increasingly popular with each VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray release in America and Europe. In 2018, the filmmaker Luca Guadagnino released a remake of the Argento Suspiria, 1 year after Call Me By Your Name was released, starring Dakota Johnson as Susie Banyan, Tilda Swinton, Mia Goth, Rainer Werner Fassbinder's one-time wife Ingrid Caven, Renette Soutendijk, and Chloe Grace Moretz, as well as Jessica Harper, among many in a large ensemble cast. Instead of the intense bright colors, Guadagnino went the opposite way, using muted autumn colors like red, brown, and gray.
When you dance the dance of another, you make yourself in the image of its creator. You empty yourself so that her work can live within you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You're in a company now. You have to find your right place. You have to decide. What is it you want to be for this company?
And with the script he co-wrote with David Kazinich that focused on the themes of motherhood, national guilt, and corruption. The remake was incredibly polarizing from the beginning, from the moment it arrived at Venice International Film Festival.
Who is it? Who's there? I've been expecting you. The American girl. I knew you'd come.
Before I introduce the panel, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Then hit that bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. Super chats are now open. If you have any pressing questions, send us a super chat, which helps me maintain the expenses for the show, in which I am obligated by the rules of the Geneva Convention to stop everything and ask the panel. Another way to help us out is to become a patron and give us money every month. In exchange, you get access to all of our after parties, bonus content, and we'll tell you even more movies we watched recently. Patreon.com/Movie Night Extra. We have a Movie Night Extravaganza Discord. There's an invite link in the episode description, and we have a Letterboxd HQ account. So those are 2 more places to follow along with us. Okay, let me introduce the illustrious panel. Christina Oakes is a co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza and a Twitch streamer. You can find her streaming at twitch.tv/Cosmopolitics. All of her social media accounts are also at Cosmopolitics. She's on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, and even occasionally on Letterboxd. Matt Strackbein, aka The Letterhack, is an artist and YouTuber who wrote the New Economic Bill of Rights comic strip, A Vision for 2024 and Beyond with Harvey J.K. last year. YouTube.com/The Letterhack. I, of course, am your average ballet dancing witch and the host of this coven, Forrest Miller. Colors are so cool, I wish they were real. Conan is currently on tour on the West Coast, tonight in Palmdale, California, at the Transplants Brewing Company, on the 7th in San Diego at Till 2 Club, and on the 8th in LA at Slipper Clutch. Get tickets and see dates at neutronfriends.com. Colors are so cool.
I wish they were real.
I don't know when I first watched this, because I've heard a million, everybody talks about Suspiria, but I've seen a bunch of the
colors and score. That's all everyone talks about.
Yeah. But when I finally watched it, I didn't feel like wading into deciding whether I really liked it or really hated it, because I felt ambivalent, and I was like, the colors are cool, so I was like, yo, colors are so cool. I wish colors were real.
Well, they made it Argento was like, he wanted to make it feel like a movie you could take acid to, or make it like an acid trip. Which is
I want you to take acid to see a witch. The witch.
I mean, if
dialogue,
if movies are supposed to be an experience, right? Then, because there were times where I was like, what does this mean? I've seen it before, but not for a long time. And I kept thinking this time around, what is this supposed to mean? And then, does that really matter? Because I'm feeling stuff. It's really resonating with me on some deeper level than just, oh, I get it. Oh, it makes sense. And it wasn't actually until I saw the remake that I realized I could actually want more, a third act or something, or another
see the remake
ending or something.
The remake, I feel went too far in all the opposite directions. So watching
remake,
I was like, all right, this is you're very autistically hyper sharing, or whatever the term is. You're with me right now, and I feel like there's a middle ground where I want more information than Dario Argento was giving us, because the information is what even is a witch? Oh, that's not. It's a coven, and it's it's stuff that I've known since I was 5. And then and then the Luca Guadagnino one was in Germany in the year 1970s. He was a terrorist group that were walking around doing traumatizing everybody, and it's
they didn't want people didn't like that it was a political movie. It's wait, what? Keep it about witches.
Yeah, I mean, this one was just she finds out it's a coven. Okay, but in the remake, she finds out it's a coven, and then, right, there's more. But in this, it's she just finds out. But I kind of let go. I remember thinking all right, the music is really hand holding, and then I started to realize it kind of isn't hand. Yeah, it's a little overpowering, but there were scenes where I realized, oh, the music is informing us that they should be aware of something and they aren't.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when
Well,
they're having that
aware.
conversation in the pool,
Yeah.
and then they drop out the dialogue and they're above them, and there's like demon sounds with the music.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I
Parcel
like how
tongue
they-
is what they're speaking.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it
Yeah.
does. No, it does sound like that. By the way, I still don't trust that like those books have like slurs in them. Like J.K. Rowling was like, I'm just gonna come up with some slurs real quick. Like
Oh, yeah.
I gotta drop them in here. But yeah, I feel like that is true. But like, there's so much like weird chanting and stuff. Like, it makes a lot of sense that Goblin, which dope ass name for an Italian band, by the way, Goblin. Like not the
Yeah.
goblins or like you know like ill goblin, like just goblin. And no,
Right.
like I like that there's so much like weird chanting, like layers and layers of sound. They're like and then on top of that there's like the voice is like and then like those things together, it's like, oh shit, what's happening? And
Yeah.
the most affecting scene for whatever reason for me does all of that. It's when they're in the plaza, the piazza, and it's the blind man, and you're like you're because you can't see what, like, you know, you can't see the witches, you can't see anything. You're kind of in his position where you're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on while you hear like,
yeah, why won't the dog stop barking? And
Yeah.
but didn't you see it look like they're on broomsticks flying? So it's like, oh wait a minute, there they are, but they can't be seen.
And then the fakest fake blood while they have like
I know
a
the
stuffed dog go,
70s are so good with like that art with that bright red, like almost
Yeah.
orange looking blood.
But it really hit me this time. Like I somehow I looked past the effects and that they could have been better, and I was like, just the fact that it's happening is insane. Like,
poor blind, you know, with the dog, like,
well, like how long would
if
you
it
have
was
lasted?
too real? Yeah, no, but it was like with what you're saying. If it was too real, I think it would have been like upsetting rather than like, you know, in that moment like affecting, right? Like
yeah, it was still cartoony. Like he wanted it to be cartoony.
They wanted
Yeah.
they had to cut 8 minutes out because it would not be available to be screened anywhere like in the United States or Canada, I think. Yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
'cause
oh, man.
Has anyone ever put that back in?
I don't think so.
I wonder what it was. Do you have a description of that somehow? I'm
Something
dying to know what
way
that is now.
way too graphic to put on the screen, I guess, back then.
I forgot about the razor wire scene.
Yeah.
All I seem to remember is the maggots. But for the
Yeah.
record, I would have been out of there way before the maggots happened.
Yeah, I'd be like, you
I
know
would have been
what?
like, people are dying. I'm going home.
Yeah.
Dude, the maggots happened to me during the pandemic. Like,
Oh,
I
really?
had,
Oh my God.
yeah,
Oh, God.
and
That's
and
what
like
I fear.
I still have a really, well, I've talked about that I have a hard time seeing like maggots crawling around in movies, but when I was helping my ex clean out like her I was helping her during the pandemic clean out her like shed. She had like the shed that she like put all of her stuff in, and like sometimes when she was like at her mom, she would like try to live in the shed, and like she had left like cat litter or something, and we picked up the cat litter thing, and there was like that many maggots like underneath the thing, and we had to clean the whole thing out, and it skeeves me the fuck out. So every time I see maggots in movies, because I don't even think it's not like I've never seen maggots to that point, but like I don't think I've ever seen that many maggots, and it like it's just permanently, because everyone's like,
A
oh,
lot
don't
of it
touch
was
them,
rice, too.
they
hair.
they burrow into your, like, people were like, oh, don't touch them because they can burrow into your skin, and that
Ooh.
like that ski, like
Yeah,
I was
then
not
they
a
get
fan.
Now
like
imagine they're
bot
coming,
flies and all that.
like they're coming
Yeah.
through the ceiling. Like that's a pretty shoddy ceiling, right? Like what
Yeah.
else is gonna come through the ceiling? Like there's rotted food in the attic. Why is it in the attic? Number one. And how long has it been up there? Right. And it's like, I'm not buying it. This place is not this place is not up to code.
I'm like,
Well, you go to one of those.
I don't want to live in this
Yeah.
ballet place. Like, sorry, nope, I don't want to. I mean, the red,
I like-
the
I
red
like when they're
flags
like,
are there
one,
from the get-go, too.
By the way, they're barely doing ballet at that school. Like,
I
because
know.
you watch the Luca Guadagnino one, And the ballet in that is so fucking intense. Like I like that about it, but the ballet is just so intense. And like I really liked the whole sequence where every time somebody does the ballet, the effects of that like reverse onto the person that like is being hexed by the witches. And but like that whole sequence I thought was amazing. But like the actual like 1977 one, like it's not like they're just going like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then like fuck.
Do you think
and then like blood comes out of her nose?
Well, so how much of the movie's effects do you think the characters were supposed to be aware of? Are they really walking into rooms that are all red, like cast in a red light, or are they not experiencing it that way?
It could be both.
It
could be both, I think. But what's interesting too is when filming this, Jessica Harper said the only thing that scared her was the end when little bombs were exploding, because a lot of the effects of the building the explosions were very close to her.
Yeah. Oh, so this is talking a little bit about the lighting processes that they used for this.
Abbiamo avuto molti esterni ovviamente, ma un esterno notte, insomma da far tremare veramente le vene ai polsi, come si dice un direttore della fotografia. Perché è un esterno notte immenso. È la piazza di Monaco dove Hitler faceva le adunate oceaniche al tempo del nazismo, quindi immensa, con questi poi templi finti greci, classici, ai bordi, e per cui era veramente una scena molto difficile da illuminare. A un certo punto ci siamo risolti comunque a farla, anche se era molto difficile, e abbiamo quindi avuto una preparazione abbastanza lunga, penso una settimana mi sembra, di persone che sono andate a montare le torrette, mettere gli archi, queste grosse luci che avevo allora, si utilizzavano, era l'unico modo del resto per illuminarle. Ho preso un arco, che è una grandissima lampada che adesso quasi non esiste più, cioè molto potente, e ho messo davanti, per esempio, a questo arco, ho messo una stoffa colorata invece di mettere una normale gelatina, quindi però questa stoffa mi permetteva di avvicinare molto la sorgente di luce all'attore, e l'effetto era di un colore praticamente come se uno prendesse del colore proprio fisico e lo lanciasse in faccia agli attori, no?
Would you mind if I use the bathroom? I'd like to dry off.
In Suspiria l'abbiamo totalmente negato, abbiamo dimenticato il naturale e siamo andati verso l'artificiale. Ora, siccome si sa che l'artificio è una delle grandi, e anche in qualche modo l'imperfezione, cioè un piccolo cattivo gusto, è anche una delle grandi qualità dell'arte, e non è soltanto il quadretto perfettamente realizzato nei toni realistici, ecco, e questo sia, credo, il motivo che ha colpito molte persone.
Yeah, that light bulb. What a great shot. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was really good.
I love his line too, where he says even bad taste can be a great artistic style. That's so fucking true.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
if you know how to utilize like bad taste, right? Like it can be like a great artistic style. But like this movie just hits that line.
Yeah,
on some of the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny too, because these days the only thing online film fans or critics talk about is lighting in film these days, because they're nitpicking the Wicked for Good trailer, but movies are too dark though, but then they're too bright. Like it's almost as if we need to bring the color palettes back, the primary colors back in film somehow, to satisfy
you think that
these people. And they always talk, and that's the only thing to talk about is the lighting. And I'm like, can we please talk about something else within the film, like within a film?
You'd think that would be like a lot easier now, because you don't have to actually go through with like a Technicolor machine, or like, the people that used to actually painstakingly have to paint like, frame by frame by hand. And it's like, you'd think that would be a lot easier in movies, and like the kind of CGI. I think it comes from the fact that a lot of stuff is shot with either green screens or blue screens, and in like in these studio spaces, that the lighting doesn't end up being as good as it could be, because it, like, for that to work, you have to have a certain, you know, level of specificity, especially if you have like a whole crowd of people. But like you'd think that we'd have these like brilliantly vivid things, and sometimes we do. Like Strange Darling is a great example, you know, watching that with those colors like popping from the screen. But like a lot of filmmakers seem to, I don't know. I mean, it's also, I guess, the difference between you know, artistic film as a medium and then like blockbusters as a medium, which I think that focuses on different things, different parts of the craft.
And
Argento
wanted to make it feel like a German expressionist film too with this one.
Well, they took the same colors from Snow White. They literally took the same color palette from the Disney Snow White, which had come out, you know, in 1937. And because they only had this is the last Technicolor machine in Rome. The last Technicolor machine in Rome. Because Technicolor had shut down, and, you know, they're starting to use like way different styles of this kind of editing. And because of that, like, they're like, well, we have one last Technicolor machine. Like this movie, like, because if this movie did not have the bright colors, I don't think anyone would like
it would not be memorable.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they filmed in these huge rooms. Like, they had these wide open spaces outside or inside where they could film and do these like sweeping shots. Like, there was an like, I'm glad you had that clip there of that guy talking about lighting, because like that's either a huge challenge or you're going to use like a lot of natural lighting. But there wasn't really any natural lighting until that one daytime scene where they kind of like just say, here's everything we know about witches in this movie, right? Like, all in one scene. But like that was, but like that even that scene was like, the contrast was so stark between the rest of the movie. It was like, oh wow, these are the only normal people in the movie, because this is the only normal like color and lighting. The whole thing.
And it's funny too. Because the actor who played, because you know the dubbing, obviously, for like most of the characters.
I thought everyone goes like this, and then it's like, hello, I want to bring you into this place, and then it's like,
well, the scene where they're talking about the witches, apparently the guy who, because Jessica Harper couldn't understand a word he was saying, so he would tap her leg gently to give her cue to respond to him, her line.
I like that they mentioned the Sergio Leone movies as well. How they just let everyone use their own language and they dub it later. There's a great clip of the guy who was in charge of like all the dubbing. It's like a bonus feature on the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly DVD. And he says there's like a scene where they're torturing Tuco, right? And in like the prison camp, and they want all the prisoners who can play music to play like as loud as possible to cover up the sounds of him being tortured. And there was this one line where he's like, I couldn't, like the guard that's telling him to like play more, play louder. He didn't know what to make him say because nothing fit his mouth. And then it occurred to him to have him say more feeling. And like that would get them to play louder.
Yeah, that's a great. I remember.
It's like the best line too.
I haven't seen the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for feeling. I think. I haven't seen it for like 8 or 9 years. Like I love that movie.
I think that's another thing Jessica Harper mentioned. She's like, they would be hammering. They would be building other little sets. Because a lot of that was built sets, and she's like, that's probably why they made the score very, very loud, because the mic was picking up, like the mics were picking up other stuff. And I'm like, what this reminds me of? Dark Shadows. Soap opera Joan Bennett was in.
This
was her last theatrical release.
I was gonna say it's the last movie she was in.
She didn't want to be in it at first because she's like she didn't like how violent films were, but like apparently she was like, her husband was a fan of Argento, so it's like, come on, wifey, please.
It's awesome. It's really interesting that like Bertolucci though and Argento both got their start kind of as like as part of like the Sergio Leone whose movies were not seen as like, I mean, they're classics, don't get me wrong, but they were not seen as like, I mean, maybe as things got further, but like at the time, right? Like it was not seen as like a high class, like, filmmaking. Like they make fun of it perfectly in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. where it's like it's a moment of shame when Leonardo DiCaprio has to go to fucking Italy and be in the spaghetti westerns. It's like this is like the end, the end of his career, like the nadir of his career, right? Like, and so these are not seen as like the most technically like masterful of the films, which is kind of a shame because they really kind of are in a way, like. But yeah, it's that thing where people from all kinds of international places, and I've seen filmmakers complain about this now in Italy. Like now they don't really do that. They don't have like all these people from different places come and like be in these huge international productions as much. They're like, we don't really do this anymore. And it's like, I feel like they should do it way more. Like I love that.
Oh yeah,
everybody
super
looks
cool.
So different. Yeah,
people should, and like every now and then you'll get like a movie. Remember, there was like a Thai movie that tried it. There was I think it was Chinese movies have tried it, where they try to like replicate the feel of what they call spaghetti westerns. And I'm like, no, just make it that way.
Yeah,
just make the movie like that. Just do it exactly how they did it, with all the risks and all the cost cutting and whatever and compromises. Just make it that way, and it'll come out that way. And if you're artistic, it'll work. But I don't know.
Tarantino is one of those people that always does it too stylized. I think when he tries to do like his version of like a spaghetti western, and it's like, and I know this is inside of a Tarantino movie, dude. Like,
yeah. And who did Kung Fu Hustle? I think they did one where it was like
Stephen Chow.
Yeah, those special effects were way too good, But anyway, I wish people. I made a comic book one time that was supposed to be that way, and it was kind of like my way of being like, well, if any of my research is incorrect, it doesn't matter because I'm not from there where the comic takes place. So it's like supposed to be that way. But that's a good point.
Jay of Red Letter Media claims that dubbing does help accentuate the dreamlike quality. I think that's honestly true. It would absolutely be a nuisance and is in most other movies. I agree with that. I also think it's the translation of it. Like the translation of some of the stuff is so fucking surreal, right? Like the translation of everything being like like there's that line that I was saying right before we were filming, right before we were streaming, where it's literally she comes in and she's like yeah, I saw these two words like surprise and iris, and she's like, congratulations, that's great. I don't know what it means either. And it's like such a non sequitur that it does feel dreamlike.
Well, the reason why the dialogue is like that is that originally Argento wanted the movie to be surrounded by young girls. And a lot of people were like, no, that is too much. So Argento,
like just the last name Argento and Young, they don't mesh very well.
He's kind of, I mean, he literally makes like erotic horror films involving his daughter. It's weird. But
and then his daughter's
the dialogue is meant to be childlike. The dialogue is literally written for children, so that's why the dialogue seems very childlike and simple.
Well, I mean, she was gonna do the lead was gonna do Woody Allen this. Yeah, and it was like, I think he made the right choice.
Yeah,
especially
what's Woody Allen up to these days? Like,
no, she would go on between this movie and then Shock Treatment. She would go on to do Stardust Memories with Woody Allen.
Oh, okay.
So Woody Allen really wanted to work with her, and her like career trajectory was like Phantom of the Paradise, and then that got her this, and then that also got her like that also got her work with Woody Allen, who really wanted to work with her after that.
I didn't realize.
I don't believe she's very underrated.
She was great in this, like perfect. But I want to talk about the very end, because that is a little ambiguous. But I didn't know this was a trilogy. I think I've seen Inferno. I haven't seen the one that came out in 2007 or 2008.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either.
I got his Mother of Tears or something. I have got to see that.
Yeah,
I've got to, because if that's in the same universe, I need the entire canon.
It's three films like that are the I guess through lines that they all have like a witch, like a powerful witch at the center of them. So then I don't know how much of it is. I don't know how much of it is sorry, not to interrupt, to say I don't know how much is backdated in the sense of like, after the fact. It's like, let's make another witch movie. Yeah. It's like, these are the three witches. But like they did like jump into that headlong in the Guadagnino one, where it's like, you know, Tannenbray and like, which is another fucking which is another one of the you know, Argento movies. So like they're like listing off kind of these witch names and everything, and it's like they had fun with that. I mean, I kind of wish they had a little less fun with that. Personally.
I gotta see that too.
another reason that I love Jessica Harper so much is that she has like those big brown eyes, and she can look sad and innocent, but like she's just got like that young, innocent face. Not like a baby face, but like an innocent face that like some actresses, you know, they just look so young and innocent and kind, and it's like these women can't play bitches, you know, like they could play like really good, you know, good-hearted characters.
I know that you like this movie too, but you know, Shock Treatment. She's the Susan Sarandon replacement for Janet from Rocky Horror Picture Show, and in Shock Treatment, as like, you know, the sequel where Susan Sarandon wanted too much money to be in it, and it's so like she's a bitch in that kind of, because she gets like, she's on her ego trip. But I can't find any connection of like Richard O'Brien being like, oh yeah, I saw Suspiria, but he has to have, because the lighting in throughout Shock Treatment is so good, but it's like a lot of it's similar. Like what she walks down the long red hallway with her you know, her clothes on, but she has that blank expression where you can kind of project your own, or maybe not even your own, but you can project things onto her, kind of like when she goes into like her narcissism towards the end of the movie, where she's like, oh, I'm just gonna let my husband rot away as a vegetable, and I'm gonna be like on TV because everybody wants to be on TV. Like her blank face as she's being like drugged up to be put on TV is like so perfect. It's like a slate. And I remember being like 11 and watching that and being like, wow, like this actress is like incredible.
Has David Lynch talked about Suspiria? Because that scene where she walks past the blue curtain, I was like, come on, that's right out of Twin Peaks. Or like Twin Peaks took it right out of this movie. But
or it also feels like Mulholland Drive. It feels a lot like Mulholland Drive.
But there was like that one scene where she walks out of the curtain and she's looking around, and I was like, how many times do we see Laura Palmer do that exact thing? Like, this is, I don't know, or at least Agent Cooper, but it felt like
the shots too.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
even
I'm
some
sure it
like color. I hate to mention Dracula 2000, but there's this scene where it's like a red hallway that's just almost like they extend it goes on forever, and I'm like, I've seen this before. You know, the coloring.
Dracula 2000. Why? I love how you're like, I hate to mention Dracula 2000.
It's Gerard Butler's Dracula.
Oh wow.
So
yikes.
anyways,
I don't see
that.
I'm trying to see if David Lynch ever, because it does have the same kind of I mean, I don't know, like we've always made fun of like people being like, wow, this is so Lynchian, whatever they want to say, it's like dreamlike, but this movie is so like has that same quality to it. But I don't see like quotes where he actually talks about it. A lot of other people have pointed it out. It's crazy like, when you have something and everybody else is pointing it out, and it's like, come on, David Lynch, just say legacy. I watched Suspiria last night and I enjoyed it tremendously.
Like there's no legacy, but like oh, a lot of, you know, so and so took inspiration from, you know, this movie, and I'm like, what? Like, come on, like.
Yeah, and the music apparently was borrowed or sampled a lot too, and I was like, well, I'll go listen to those, but it's not the kind of thing where I'd be like, oh yeah, that's from Suspiria. Like, it didn't stand out.
I mean, but that like repeated motif, like dun, 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 so, I'll hear that wherever. But it also kind of reminds me of The Exorcist, like, you know, the tolling bells a little bit, you know, like
I got really excited. I got really excited when she realized the blue flower was a doorknob. I don't know why. I've seen this before. I know I didn't get excited like that, but this time I was like, iris. Oh, cool. Yeah, well, I was like, oh, she's figuring it out. Oh, wow. And like, I don't know why it was like thrilling to me this time around. Isn't that weird? It's
there's also I don't know why this stuck out to me. Sometimes I've watched it and not other times, but the footsteps where she realizes that there's a whole nother side to the school. There's like secret passages, and she's listening for the footsteps going like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's like that sticks out to me. That has stuck out to me different times I've watched it too. And it's like she's counting the footsteps, and it's like, damn, you smart.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys wait to talk about the ending or anything, but
no, this is a free form conversation.
Okay, that's what I figured. So when she walks out at the very end, is she smiling? Is she laughing? Is she victorious, or is she possessed?
It's very
relieved.
It's very Midsommar in a way, like where you have to kind
all
of
it's missing
project
is
your
a
own
screaming scene.
Yeah, as she walks out, right? Like you have to project your own kind of vindication or reaction.
Has she
onto
gone
her the
mad,
same way that,
or like what? Because I
was
like, okay,
it's a perfect representation of like the Midsommar thing, where it ends on Florence Pugh's face, and you have to you have to analyze it yourself to like decide what state of mind she's feeling at the end of this.
I think she was inadvertently possessed at the end. That is, I got the distinct impression this time around that either I forget the name of the woman that was in the bed. You want to kill me? Like she could see the outline. I forget the name, but
right there,
it's the head witch.
Yeah. It's right.
Helena Marcos, of course. Yeah, I just remembered.
Helena Marcos.
Right? But like it was either Helena Marcos or the girl that she animated. But I think like that probably isn't the case because that girl was dead. Who fell in the razor wire?
Yeah, no, that girl's definitely dead.
But I think it was like Helena Marcos inadvertently was freed from this sort of prison where she was waiting for someone to. She wanted new life, right? Isn't that what was? I might be tainted
sacrificing
by
and murdering these answers
to stay alive.
It's her version of Black Swan, and she's like, yeah, fuck him. It's every woman for themselves.
I thought she was like, oh, I didn't know I wanted to be free of this place, and now I am, and I can live on in this young girl. Like that, I don't know why I caught that.
Well, she's stuck in the back part of it too.
She's stuck in a
there's a
90-year-old former prostitute's body. That's what it is.
But like there's like this, like she gets into like the dark side, I guess, of the building, and she's trying to get out the entire time. So like there is, I mean, for her to be relieved about it, like she does say it multiple times, like there's got to be a way out of here. Because she's trapped in because she's heard the footsteps, and then she manages to go back into that part of the building, and then she's trying to figure out how to get back into like the regular part of the building. But it's very like, in a way, it's very through the looking glass. Yeah, because it's like the two sides of something. Once you go over the other side, you're like, all right, well, I've gone over like through the looking glass. Like, how do I get back out to this side of the looking glass?
Do you think it was weird to anyone involved in the film that it ended I felt abrupt to me. It felt like it all happened very quickly.
I know Conan's all about 90-minute, 1 hour and 30 minutes, but this movie could have been a little bit longer.
Yeah, but then you see the Luca one, and it's like that movie could have cut off a solid hour of it.
They do the next morning after like the brutal, gory scene. Then it's like, oh, the next day, and they're cleaning up, and it's like, wait a second, you guys.
Imagine being one of those like dysgenic, disformed fat women that that are in like there's so many good like Italian character actors in this, but there's like the two women that are like the ones that do the cooking, and they're like playing with the meat in one scene. Yeah. Imagine being one of them, and then you see like everything's everywhere and the building's exploded, and you're like, I am supposed to clean this up. I know what it is. Like, you want me to do this?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. Here's
the thing. When you talk about something that might be uncomfortable, a lot of people laugh and giggle. They say I'm giggling because I'm nervous or whatever. That could have been it too. She could have been just wow, what a traumatic situation.
I'm so glad witches are
not.
I'm so glad witches aren't real.
Yeah.
But like she wasn't broken, right?
No.
Like I just want to know what she did the next day, because like she went through all this like madness the whole time. People are dying everywhere, right? The maggots would have been it for me, but she kept going.
A state of shock.
She gets the whole download on witches and covens and stuff like that, And then
it's not even. It's
what
like
you do the
a
next
bunch
day.
of witches. She's like a group of witches, a coven of witches, and it's like okay, I've known that since I was 5. Like we're not gonna find out more about witches. They're like, oh, are
Yeah.
witches real? And it's like I don't know if they're
Yeah.
real, but
Have you ever
they
seen
might.
American Movie? Have you seen American Movie, the documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the guy's making a horror film with his friends. Or
We literally had him on.
You had him on here?
Yeah, he's in the chat a lot. Mark.
He is?
Yeah, he's
gotta be
on the
kidding
chat.
me.
Like he jumps into he came on when we talked about because he's friends with Conan, Mark Barshard. He came
No
on.
way.
He came on an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been on.
How did I miss it? What episode did he come on to talk about?
We talked about.
How did I miss
Fuck,
it?
I'll remember. Yeah.
Oh, that guy's a legend. Well, aren't
Yeah.
they calling his movie Coven?
Coven. Yeah. No, because his movie in it is he doesn't like talking about it, but his
No,
movie is a witch movie.
But they're like fighting over the pronunciation, right? Like some people are calling it Coven.
Deliverance, by the way, Deliverance. He came on for Deliverance.
Yeah, Deliverance.
I couldn't think of the fucking word, but yeah, he
When
came on.
did this fucking happen?
Like 2
this
years
happened-
ago?
Yeah, like 2
3
years ago.
Or yeah, something like that.
I like fanboyed out on him because I was like,
I'm gonna assume
I
I
was
was
in
traveling.
and Conan was like, all right, well, don't like don't talk too much about American Movie. Like he's moving on. He's working on all these other projects, and I was like, it's really hard not to fucking talk
He's
about
a
this
very,
right now.
very nice guy too.
Yeah, he is. He's
all about
super
that
nice.
love.
Oh yeah.
But he watches. He'll, like every once in a while he'll jump into the chat and be like, "Hey guys," and then leave again.
One of my all-time favorite things. Oh, there he is. I found it. Oh wow. One of my all-time favorite things is when he's talking about how, and I know we're off topic now, but when he's talking about how, yeah, I never went to Burger King because they have Pepsi. Fuck that shit. I don't drink Pepsi. I go to McDonald's because they have Coke. But then when they started doing Coke at Burger King, I was like, well, the Whoppers are better. It's just
Well,
it's
he used to
just
do
some of
that.
the
He used to do that
best stuff.
He used to do this bit where Letterman would just give him a camera. And he lives in Wisconsin, obviously. So does Conan. So Conan, like he's directed a bunch of Conan's music videos. Like Conan will like throw him stuff, and it's like he directs like some of Conan's coolest music videos. He's great. But
How do I not know
there's,
this? I'm killing. I can't believe I didn't know.
But there was
this.
there'd be these incredible bits where Letterman would just hand him like studio equipment, like literally would just allow a studio team to go to Wisconsin to hang out with him, and like he would just give them a tour, and that would be like a Letterman bit. Like he went on Letterman I think like 11 times, and Letterman would just let him, like when they started being like closer, he would just let him tour him around like the neighborhood and be like, yeah man, this is where I edit and all this stuff. And obviously it's one of those like kind of like this guy is like a struggling filmmaker, and we're gonna like look at him, and like I feel like a lot of times Letterman's a little mean about that kind of stuff, but it's like
yeah.
Yep.
But he is one of the coolest guys of all time. Like I'm sure he's a nice guy because you can just tell he's genuine. I wonder what he would have thought of this movie. You could probably ask him very easily.
Yeah, maybe we'll invoke Mark Borchardt. He'll jump up and tell us. But I'm sure he sees the Suspiria. Like,
yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my mom apparently has. She's like, Suspiria, what's that? And I'm like, oh my god.
You're like, Mom, what do you know about witches?
But you know what's interesting too? Like watching Joan Bennett's acting, it's like it's so old Hollywood style of acting, like very stiff. Like
central casting kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's not as stiff as it was in Dark Shadows because they would have cue cards, But like she had a bit more warmth until the end in this movie, and I'm like, that's Elizabeth Collins Stoddard. Like,
do you know anybody like that in real life? Anyone that like cardboard just? It's like a cartoon. That's what it felt like the whole time.
It's like this woman I cleaned for is like 95 years old. Yes, she looks great. Like she looks like she's like in her 60s and she still drives and stuff. I think getting a dog kind of helped her, have some life into her. But she was always very like stoic and like almost emotionless. But I think it's because she was married to a Marine for a good chunk of her life. So it's like
that'll do it.
That projected on her. So
I've heard that.
But Joan Bennett as like a young silent star, like damn dude, like
she can get it.
Yeah, she doesn't have to say anything.
I didn't say that part.
Okay, let me ask you this about your real life. Do you think, like, how would you feel if you suddenly were like looking for, let's just say, like, you decided, like, this movie had a real impact on you, and you decided that you were going to start suspecting that maybe somebody in your life was a witch and part of a coven, right? Like, can you think of who that might be? And, like, what would you do if you were like, oh shit, I was kind of joking around, but I think my neighbor might actually be the same three ladies go over to that house every single
I mean,
night.
I know some witches.
Not like that. I mean, like, some
No,
evil
like
stuff, man.
No,
Like
I mean,
some
evil.
bad,
I mean,
scary shit, right?
like I
Not
know
like
somebody, like
Wiccan.
I'm close friends with somebody that lives next to like one of the last satanic temples, and they
Oh,
like literally do practice like witchcraft and the occult. Like they literally
am I
have
a
like
bad
a.
am I a bad leftist for like thinking that that's scary?
I mean, I don't
Am
I
I
don't
are you
think
kink
it's
scared
shaming them
leftist for that,
somehow?
but
What?
Are you scared,
I think for them for that they're a extremely theatrical drag queen, and for them it definitely is verging on kind of fetish territory to like the way that they dress, like with this like kind of they like, because I went to their house one time next to the satanic temple, and like the guy's name is like Adolfo, and he has like a red shawl that he was wearing in this house and like occult stuff. So it definitely for him is
Oh my
like
goodness.
he fucking loves it. Like he loves that, like
Well,
putting on that affectation. I
but
felt
you
like I
know
was
what I
in some
mean?
kind of
You know what I mean when you realize, or like the ability to
yeah.
realize that there's a secret thing. I'm the only one in the room right now that's not a part of this secret thing that's going on, and
Yeah, I feel like that's
they
happening all the
have
time. I get
nefarious.
paranoid.
It's just like capitalism.
FOMO. Like I'm missing
I
out.
hate I hate when group chats suddenly turn into like you have group chats with like a bunch of different people, and then those group chats spiral off, and then in your head you're like, okay, I'm in multiple groups. Is there another group chat where everyone's talking about me? Like
Yep.
that's
Oh,
my version of feeling left
see,
out of a
that's why I don't
coven.
really do group chats. Like I'll do a group DM every now and then, but it's not
I mean,
typically part of it.
I only do them
I
for
barely have
podcasting
time to
stuff.
check most notifications. So it's like, why do you have? I don't have time to do group chat. I got things to do, you know.
I only really do them over, you know, for
For the
unless like I'll have
podcast.
like times where I'll have podcasting, or like sometimes I'll have like a certain like solid group of friends for like I never end up keeping the same solid group of friends. It's always like people are switching out and in, and like I know like it's never like it's not like I lose people, but it's like, you know, like sometimes I'll have like a really close group of people that I like hang out with a lot, and then the group chat will start. But then you always see one day the group chat kind of dries up.
Well, I had a friend who moved out to California and realized that he knew some people who ended up being in like a cult. And he was like, yeah, it was weird because like we would hang out and then they would all leave together and I would go my separate way. And he's like, and I realized they were in like sort of a cult, and he was offended that they never tried to recruit him. He was like, how come they didn't want me to be in it?
That's like
It was like they
like when you're-
reached their limit for membership or something.
That's like being when you have a bunch of friends that are like gay, and like you're not gay, but you're like
Why didn't they
if
hit on
nobody
me?
tries to if nobody hits on me at all, like now I feel kind of bad about this.
Yeah, I had a real conservative, my right-wing neighbor for years, who was always like, he's like paranoid around gay guys, and I was like, hey man, no one's coming after you, gay, straight, it doesn't
Well,
matter.
it's always
your
the fucking
prime.
person. It's always the fucking ugliest person that's like, well, if a gay man tried to hit on me,
Well,
and
no,
it's
he's
like,
just not. He's not a warm and welcoming person.
Yeah.
Nobody wants anything to do with him. He's too much of a prick about everything.
Hey, someone out there, some gay man out there will love it.
But also,
yeah.
With one thing I noticed too, and I caught on with the movie, is that the wine that they were giving her was what was like knocking her out every
Yeah.
night to
Oh,
sleep.
yeah.
And they're like, wake up!
Because they're like waterboarding her almost at one point. Like when she they're like, oh, we need to replace your blood with, which is not logically medical. Like that doctor is terrible, and they're like, oh, if we're gonna make you drink fluid so that your blood reinstates
Susie,
because you
wake
had a bloody
up!
nose.
I don't like this.
But it's like, and then they're like forcing water down the throat, and then they're like, right, doctor? And the doctor's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And it's like, I don't think this does not seem like a medically professional environment to me, but that's just me.
Well,
I
wonder if anybody, like, can you think of another movie where somebody was trying to make it feel like a Disney movie, but also a nightmare? Like, that seems like something people should do more. Like, I mean, you get Tim Burton.
Return to Oz is literally a Disney movie, but that felt like a nightmare, right, Forrest?
Yeah, that
was
to Oz. That's right.
Yeah, that was traumatizing as a kid because I didn't know that. I've said it a million times on the podcast, but I would like when I watched Return to Oz, I was like, I was like 10 or like 9 or 10 or something, and I expected like a sequel to The Wizard of Oz. And then I remember I didn't know what electroshock therapy was, and I think my mom had to explain it, or someone had to explain it, like one of my parents. And I just remember being like completely traumatized. So I'm like, why are they shocking her with electric?
Yeah, I remember that now. That was creepy. And I was going to use the example of like Tim Burton doing Alice in Wonderland and stuff, but that's still kind of like
Disney.
Yeah. But and so just to make it like, you know, a real,
when I
like
saw
that was
Return
a
to
great
Oz.
idea. Yeah, Return to Oz. I got to revisit that. I remember that being like on all the time. That was like an HBO staple.
Wheelers?
No, we're saying that.
Yeah, the Wheelers. That was so creepy.
My mom remembers when I saw Return to Oz. But I think it's hard to do. You can't try too hard to make it seem like it's a dream or a nightmare. That's the problem.
Right.
Like I don't know about you guys and sleep. Like I will go through periods where I don't remember any dreams, but then I'll go through periods where I have extremely vivid dreams and like nightmares.
Yeah, my mom's kind of going through that right now, but they're kind of nightmarish, and it's really impacting her right now.
Mine are often nightmarish. Like I have like I have night terrors a lot of times, and like I don't know, like, you know, and just wake up. Like, yo, if you're having a nightmare, just wake up, bro. But it's like it's
okay.
Like a lot of times I'll know that I'm like having like a lot of times it'll dawn on me very like hours into it probably, or maybe not, because like I don't know how time works weirdly, but
like I hate dreams. I've never had a dream where I was like, oh, I want to keep dreaming that. I think they're dumb. I don't know where these thoughts come from. I do not have these thoughts when I'm awake. It's so annoying. Your
dreams are just murder, kill.
No, but it's like wild stuff. But like I used to use a dream suppressant. Like I would every day, all day.
Jason?
What's that?
What are you, Freddy versus Jason? Because that's what they use on a lot of people to not make a dream and bring Freddy Krueger back.
I never had
it's
dreams
true if
when I lived in Colorado for like 20 years. I went without any dreams, and then I moved to South Carolina where I cleaned up right away because I didn't want to. You know, you go from totally legal to totally illegal, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna get busted down there of all places, and
you'd be like my cousin Vinny.
Yeah, exactly. But then all my dreams came back right away, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. So it's like a bummer for me. I don't like dreams.
Yeah. I mean, you don't. If you smoke like regularly, like you really like you don't dream. Like it's almost eerie to me.
I was doing it 24/7.
You still do. I think you just
pretty
don't.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't remember them. You
sleep
through it.
Yeah, my mom's recent dream was my Uma reaching out to her saying, Marie, Marie, Marie. And she woke up sobbing. And I'm like, well, that's a message from Uma saying, get your shit together.
I get a lot of like backing up to like a black void and hands grabbing me. And what is that? And I'm sure somebody could analyze it.
You just gotta
I don't
need
it analyzed. I don't need it analyzed. I just need to be able to sleep through that shit. Like I don't care what it means. Just make it so I don't remember it.
Yeah, Steve, I've had repeat dreams and lucid dreams. Well, also too, Don't Worry, Darling's editing and cinematography kind of gives the vibes. Like I would watch that when I'm like really, really tired at some point, or like really, really high, and I'm like, what?
I know.
I mean, I think
there's a lot happening. Comic Suspiria, which I had an edible when I was watching it today.
Not saying not saying that these are my favorite episodes of the show or anything, but the Sopranos dream episodes are like pretty on point, I think, with just like
yeah,
how discordant, because there's a certain level of, you can't have it be completely discordant, but it has to be discordant in a way that your brain is kind of trying to tell you information that you're processing, and it comes to you in different ways, but it's the same information. Your brain usually isn't, I mean, sometimes it is, but your brain usually isn't making up new information. It's processing information that you already have. So there's like a balance between like these discordant elements that like symbolize things, but you can't be like, oh, I bet my dreams are gonna be so full of symbolism, because it's like, bro, like, you're just being pretentious at that point. There has to be like a middle ground in the writing process where you're like, all right, like discordant, yes, but also repeating the information that your brain already would be aware of. Like I hate when someone's like in a movie, they're like they go to sleep and they're like, oh, now I know the secret password. And it's like, no, you don't. Shut the fuck up. Like,
I have dreams that last years. Like I have dreams where
repetitive dreams for me.
I was dreaming where I ran a 5K at night. I used to run a lot. I was running a 5K at night, and then the following year I was training to do it again. When I woke up, I was like, this went through like a whole year of a life. It's so annoying. It's like, who has time and energy for that? But I used to be really into it when I did a lot of hallucinogenics in my younger years, like my 20s. I used to be really into it, and like, oh wow, can you see yourself in a mirror in the dreams, and can you see your hand and stuff like that? Like, it was
have
really
you ever
cool.
Have you ever like
I've
had
loved
something
it,
had like a traumatizing kind of nightmare, but like towards the end of it you realize like I'm dreaming, and you like try to get yourself out of it? Like,
no, I've had dreams where I dream and then deja vu happens, and I'm like,
in the dream.
No, like I dream and then in real life that something happens in that dream that happens, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I think that's so annoying. I don't want anything to do with that stuff. I'm too focused on real world shit.
I'm like, wait a minute, I dreamt about
So
this
annoying.
one time. All my
I'm
dreams
just
are
imagining-
anxiety inducing though, like teeth falling out, forgetting your locker combination, forgetting.
Well, there is there's like a, I mean, I don't know how much dream symbology actually like, you know, correlates to you know, the real thing, because I feel like that could be overstated with like, you know, Freudian analytics, where it's like, oh, if you dream this, it means this has happened to you. About like, I don't know, your brain's not automatically making those connections, but there is a thing with stress. Like if you're in a situation where everything is in flux, if you're in a situation where everything's stressful, teeth falling out it symbolizes that.
Yep.
You know, like
I get lost a lot, like where I'm supposed to be like, shit, they're waiting for me out in the car, and it's like an hour later and I still can't find my way out, or I'm trying to pack a bag and I just can't do it. And then I wake up and I'm like, I have nothing going on today. I'm not stressed out. There's nothing weighing on me. What was that stupid dream? Like, it's so obnoxious. I would love to have a dream where I wake up like, oh my God, that was really scary. That rarely.
I sometimes
bugs, but not really.
There are times when I'm not like, and I mean, like, the more socializing I do, the more varied the dreams are, which is good. Like if I'm like socializing and going out of the house and like doing stuff, then there's more things that like more stimulus coming back to me to dream about. But there's certain times where it's like you know, like this happened like a couple months ago, or you know, I don't know, where I wasn't like I'd just been like watching too many videos from Gaza and like too much, like, so like that started to bleed into my dreams.
That's true.
And it's like and like it's essentially like I felt like I had been mainlining like Palestine content so much that all of a sudden like I found myself getting kicked by a concentration camp guard like against a wall, and I was like, oh, this is not. I woke up after getting the shit kicked out of me. And I was like, "Oh, this is bad. This is."
Yeah. Sometimes I wake up from a dream
like
and I'm like, like a nightmare, and I'm like, I cannot get back to sleep. This really spooked me.
The craziest is you wake up from a nightmare and then you can go back to sleep, and then you wake up the second time and it's like, why did I do that? Why did I immediately go? No, I'm sure it'll be fine the second time.
I've had a good dreams where I wake up from a good dream and then I go back to sleep and the dream continues and I'm like, oh yeah, let's go.
the problem with having a really good dream, which like definitely happens, like for like, you know, is that you wake up and you're like, oh man, like I don't have whatever the thing, like, because it's always like you either have like some amazing relationship or you have like something like you know, like you find $1 million or something, like you like, I mean not necessarily that, but like, you know, you find something and it's extremely gratifying and life is awesome, and then you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't have the thing that, like, now I'm awake and I don't have shit. Like
I get into fights in dreams. I grew up, I'm like short, so I grew up with people picking on me, and I was like, haha, I like to fight. But like,
can you connect when you fight? Like, can you
no,
actually
it's like
fight in
I'm
your dreams?
underwater.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's so annoying. And it's like, you know what? I'm pretty much like a really chill guy these days. I don't look for brawls or anything. Why am I having these? It's annoying. I hate dreams.
Yeah. I like,
But I like nightmare movies.
It started to make me wonder, like maybe I don't know how to fight, because like this is like when I was a teenager, like at the time,
Oh,
like,
I knew how to fight. I used to beat up my bullies.
well, I had gotten into, like, you know, people had like punched me or whatever, but like I wasn't like a, you know, I wasn't like a fighter like or anything like that. And I remember having like repeated dreams where I would get like, you know, get like punched, and then my arms were like jelly and I couldn't do anything with them. And I was like, what if I really do get punched one
And
day?
then you wake up, you
my
realize
arms
your
really
arms
are
have
like
fallen
that.
asleep. You know, like that's what happens with me. I'm like, oh man,
You wake up and you're like, oh, thank God my arms are normal.
I have never had a dream where I woke up and thought, oh, thank God that didn't happen. I only have dreams where I wake up and go, come on, who's writing that stupid story? Like, 'cause I'm a storyteller. Like, I take pride in crafting a story. These dreams I have are shabby. They are not well told. They are poorly constructed. There's no traditional arc. There's not even like taking liberties with their traditional arc. They just suck. It's like, that's,
you know who had an
boring.
arc?
Nobody cares.
Noah.
Joan was a mark.
Where's my arc? You know what arc? Noah. I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think of dreams as like just information processing, which kind of
exercising the mind and your like subconscious thoughts. I mean, basically, I mean that's what we learned in psychology class. It's like, yeah, but does it have to be bad? Like, you can't control.
But if you don't
when you're asleep.
If you don't do that, I think you go into like psychosis. Like not necessarily like, not saying like literally like the clinical definition, but like if you don't have that information processing, dream extravagance, if you don't have that information processing, you start to go out of your mind, because your brain is taking in all that information, and a lot of times bad information, but also good information, and then it's not feeding that, like, because your brain really is just like a computer essentially, right? Like everything computer, and it's like your brain kind of has to feed it. Your brain has to feed and process that information and then store that information somewhere. And it's like, if you're only filtering it in and you're not like, you know, if your brain is not processing it, it's like, you know, that's also why
I'm back on my meds.
AI in that.
Yeah, I was able to access getting my meds. I was off my meds for 2 months, and I was watching TikToks of like sad, depressing true crime stories with the weird, creepy, or sad music in the background. And so I was like, dude, just my TikTok algorithm was just that. And oh my God, the dreams I had were so weird and like
it's crazy. It's crazy that there's certain music, TikTok music, that's for true crime. And then there's certain like music that doesn't even make any sense for what, but like there's like a song that I don't know what the song is or where they found it or whatever, but there's a certain like song that I've noticed whenever someone's about to go on an anti-Semitic rant, this like there's this one thing like background music they play over it, and it's always like this weird rising thing that I can't really explain, and it's like I'm always like, oh, they're about to blame the Jews, and then they always do, and it's like, yeah, this is not. There's that Nazi music again, but it's not like it's like German music or something. It's like this weird like song in the back, like it's almost like a video game song, and it's like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't get TikTok.
I think that sort of explains the movie in a funny way, because I kept asking, why doesn't she leave? I would have left by now. But if it's a nightmare, she's stuck, she's trapped, she can't leave.
Yeah,
and then when she gets out,
she gets out,
she's
like
elated.
Awake. She's
So it doesn't matter how
I thought
horrible
about it as
it was, it's over. That's funny.
I thought about it kind of as like she's trapped. Like she feels like almost like she's in a cage, right? Like, and she's trying to get out of the place, and the whole time it's like she's trying to get out of the place. And like when she finally, the girl comes out of the door with like her butthole like face or whatever, she said, and like she comes out of the door and starts walking at her, and that's one door that she can't get through, and then there's another door, and Helena Marcos is in front of like another part of the door, so she has she finally gets out, and I felt like she's like escaping from whatever it is, and she's like relieved from that, and the whole place blows up. Like,
the only thing, because I could take or leave the remake, it was just one of those movies where like, okay, I mean, that feels like
wish
there's
they called it something else.
There's like a few different movies in there, even. Yeah, and that would have been fine. But like
Three Mothers or something.
It was not a remake of Suspiria. It was like its own. Like if it was its own thing, I would have been like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Now you know how I feel about every single comic book adaptation. Just fucking call it something else. You totally changed it. You're killing me. But that's not the Hulk. But anyway,
that's the Hawk. We know that that's
right.
The
Hawk.
Hawkeye.
Tilda Swinton playing all those different parts. You picked up on that, right? Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, she's the old man.
And Helena Marcos.
Yeah. She's
right.
That means she's just great. She can I would have watched it if she was every single role.
Well, Tilda Swinton in the first Doctor Strange movie was very, very questionable because she played a man who's supposed to be like an old Asian dude. I'm assuming, right?
But they did that so that she's supposed to be a Tibetan guy, but because it's they wanted to sell fucking Doctor Strange in China, she wasn't allowed to be Tibetan, so they made her be white. I swear to God, that's like a real people got real mad about that at the time.
Yeah,
because China said at the time, right? Like because they were like the biggest market for Marvel movies that they were trying to break into at that time was like the China market, and because of that, they're like, oh, we're not gonna we are not having like a Tibetan guy as like the main person of this movie. So like they're like, oh, we'll have it be a white woman, and then everyone in America was like, wow, you erased the Tibetan guy.
Yeah. I think she was writing letters to like Margaret Chow or something like that, like asking like, am I doing this wrong? Why is everyone so mad? And it was like, come on. But
please everybody.
There was like a geopolitical symbolism to it that was like below the surface that like I don't think she would have picked up on necessarily.
She was like, I just want to be in a Marvel movie. But she didn't play that doctor, which is kind of funny because the doctor's credited in the credits is like some other actor.
Yeah.
And people are like, so you're playing another role? And she goes, nope. And they're like, really? You played the doctor? And she's like, no, I didn't. And then somebody finally asked her, and I think she was like hinting at him, like no one's asking me the right question or something, but somebody finally asked like, oh, you were playing the actor that played the doctor role. And she was like, yeah.
I can't do the Luca Guadagnino shit. It's just everything is so pretentious in his movies. It's like, oh, you're not playing the guy, you're playing, that was that guy's idea.
And very much like driven like with like erotica and like sex and relationships too. It's like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, I felt so bad because
I like how anyone who has seen the film can tell you without a shred of doubt that Dr. Klumper, the psychoanalyst who gets drawn into the mysterious occult affairs, was also played by Swinton under pounds of aging makeup. Can anyone though? Because if I didn't know that already, I don't know if I would have instantly picked up on that. She doesn't look like
I'm bad at picking. I don't recognize actors from something I just watched them in. Like I do not notice that stuff. I detach. But there was I still thought it was a good performance, but I don't know.
She said, why did they do it? Why invent a fake elderly actor when this mystery has nothing to do with the big reveal in the movie itself? Undeniably, I would have to say, for the sheer sake of fun above all, as my grandmother would have it, a motto to live and die by, dull not to.
I felt bad for coming on here not liking a movie, but I don't know.
Tell me about your name.
Yeah, but like
I hated I don't like that director at all. But like everybody was talking about Call Me by Your Name. And
people,
I was like,
I'll hear people say right now, like in this day,
it's a
like
masterpiece.
It's a beautiful movie. It's
Challengers
such a
is
sweet
actually a lot better than Call Me by Your Name.
He jacks off into a peach.
That was a beautiful love story. Like I can't take it seriously. I'm sorry.
There's so many parts where I'm like, is it supposed to be? I remember saying at the time,
it's a love story between Chalamet and a peach, right?
I remember saying at the
now
time
it is.
I feel like the director was like, people are gonna like get that this is like, you know, a pedo story, and then they didn't, and he was like, well, I'll go with the love story angle then, because obviously it's not a love story.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it definitely is. He just
weird.
kind of has like all these strange, like he made that movie. I haven't seen it, but he made the Daniel Craig movie Queer, where everyone doesn't want to fuck Daniel Craig, and everyone's like, "Do you really want us to believe that Daniel Craig is ugly and doesn't have everyone all over him in this movie?"
Is that
That's the one that Joaquin Phoenix dropped out of, and everyone's like, "What? He actually like helped produce the movie or get it going, then he just drops out." Typical Joaquin Phoenix.
They were not. Wait, the premise of Queer is that they don't want to hook up with Daniel Craig?
I don't know if that's the premise of it. I'm just saying that's apparently a part of it.
Oh, okay.
They're like, this is Daniel Craig,
known ugly man.
But they're like, this is Daniel Craig, and no one wants to
Ugliest
fuck him.
actor in Hollywood right now.
They're like, what happened to this movie? Well, nobody wants to fuck him. Like, yeah, but okay, but what's
I'm listening.
Like,
no, that's it.
all right, it's I guess it's a Burroughs novella. That he has a which Burroughs is queer, that makes sense, but he has a semi-autobiographical protagonist. Yeah, so it's its own, you know. I didn't think that was the premise, but the only thing that I've really seen anyone talk about is like, oh, you wanted us to believe that people didn't want to hook up with Daniel Craig, and it's like, he's James Bond, of course people do.
Yeah, try as hard as you want. So I don't know. I haven't seen the tennis one. What's it called? Challenger? I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that just because I was like, the trailer.
The score was really good.
Oh, maybe I'll listen to it.
That's it. That's what. that's
Look, I don't want to bring
high
up
praise.
Dracula 2000.
And it also should have gotten like an editing. And the editing is really good. And the score is really good. Plot's a lot better than most of his movies.
Celine Song's husband, right? It was the guy that wrote it.
Yeah, so you know it's gonna be good.
Yeah, well, I mean, it didn't seem like it was my speed, but it was funny that she had her version of like a love triangle movie, and then he had his version of a love triangle movie, and they came out like, because neither of them had ever written a movie before that, and they came out at like the same time, like dueling love triangles, and then it's like the story that Celine Song's told in past lives is like, oh no, that's a true story too, and it's like, so you guys are just working out some stuff, huh? Like,
do you like tennis? See, I love tennis, and I've seen exactly one tennis movie where I was like, they fucking nailed it. That was great. It was a French movie called Final Set from 2020. Highly recommended.
As was Daniel Craig.
But I have never seen a tennis movie that did the tennis part justice. There's always like an idea. Well, yeah, but that was real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So
I mean, it's hard to do like
that was good.
You gotta know how to play tennis first.
That's what I liked about Final Set. They filmed it like when you watch tennis, the camera's in a certain spot, and that's how they filmed the tennis matches. And I was like, that's all you got to do to make it feel real, because then you just zoom in on the ball going in or out of the box. You
know? I knew a guy whose favorite movie was Call Me by Your Name, and they were not gay. I don't know what that says about them.
Oh,
well, maybe they were.
They have a secret fetish.
I have a lot of
questions. I love you know, when a 14-year-old boy and a 30-year-old man get together. It's like Sparta all over again.
Hanging. He's sitting in front of the fireplace at the end, and I was like, this is gonna damage this guy forever. And I guess the rest of the audience is thinking, oh,
there's a sequel to the book too, I think, where he's older. Yeah.
Oh, I think we talked about that. Yeah, I have no
interest,
but it is.
And then
I do want to know what
he's and then he's like, I gotta fight a guy that's even older
and a cannibal.
I don't know. It
so
just
weird.
I think it's really funny that in that movie they're like, Timothée Chalamet is like supposed to be like 14 or 15, and he's like, I mean, he's like, you know, 17 or 8, like, but he's not like 14, you know what I mean, in that. And then they're like, Armie Hammer is supposed to be 26. It's like, okay, he's 40 something. He's clearly 40. You let a 45-year-old man into your house that was like, oh, I'm a college student, and you believed him, and then you had sex with your son. That's what it seems like to me.
I was so mad at the father at the end too, when he gives him that heart-to-heart, like father-son talk, and he's like, it's okay. I was like, dude,
is it?
It's horrible. I wonder.
Like,
I want to tell people, there's one person in the independent media sphere who is always bringing that movie up, And I want them to go back, and I feel like they just haven't watched it lately. And I want them to go back and watch it through a new lens and be like, "Oh shit, I need to
The
stop
lens
bringing
of
that movie up."
yeah.
They
I
need
don't
to
know.
watch
It's
our
just
episode and then go revisit.
but it's just like he's like a 45-year-old man, and he's like, I'm summering in between semesters at grad school, and it's like, yeah, sure, I guess. Like, I hope you get your thesis done, bud. Like, maybe it's time to settle down and have like some kids or something because I don't know, you're getting old fast.
I
And
put
they
it in
can
the
at least
private
eat.
chat.
You can at least
Why would you? Why? Sorry.
yeah. Why would you tell us that?
Yeah.
But maybe I mean she's very straight. Like
No,
maybe
he froze.
it's
He froze.
maybe
I
it's a
need to hear
straight
him.
person's gay movie.
Yeah, there you go. It's not too stereotypical, so that's good.
But like I don't know. It's like the same way that people were like, oh, I would have voted for Obama a third time if I could have. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But
I
it's
would have
that.
stopped 9/11.
No, but it's that kind of like, oh, I love queer culture. Call me by your name. You know what I mean? Like, but then I did see people that are like,
though. Hello.
I did see people that are like very, very yeah.
Was it me that froze?
Yeah, it was you that froze. But I do see people that are like very, very like kind of at least queer coded that I know that liked it. So maybe it's not, but it feels like it's a very straight person's gay movie.
Okay,
I don't know.
What were you saying when I froze? Because I was in the process of going, oh no, you froze. Finish that thought.
No, I was saying that I feel like maybe it's a very straight, like it's a straight person's gay movie. It's like the way that like people were really into like Get Out or something. Like white people were really, really into Get Out. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's like it's a movie that like straight people watch it and they're like, call me by your name. I love queer culture. Like,
oh yeah, right. That's funny. That's like people who make movies about tennis that don't understand tennis at all. It's kind of the same. Yeah, I see.
I mean, I don't know. Looking at Luca Guadagnino, I would accept that. I mean, I would expect that maybe he understands tennis. He looks like a guy that might understand tennis, but I feel like that's doubtful.
But this, I do. The only other real thought I had while watching this movie was they could have leaned into. I felt like they weren't leaning into the aesthetics enough. This is insane to say because this movie was very aesthetic, but like,
what do you want them to say? Oh,
like
you're very red right now. You're very blue.
Well, but I felt like they kept trying to remind people like, no, there's a coherent through line. There's an actual. This is the real world.
And then there
like,
would, and then there
it's a
wouldn't,
real
and then
movie.
and then there wouldn't be. Like they'd remind us for like a second. They'd be like, in
So
the
they
school,
should have
we
leaned
take these things very seriously. Blah 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 blah. And then they'd be like,
But I just wanted like a good solid 15 minutes of mayhem. Instead, you get that final scene where it's like very
5 minutes
polished, and it's like she comes in, she knocks over the peacock, she picks up the weapon.
It feels like they kind of ran out of money. It feels like they kind of ran out of money, and then they're like, well, we have lights. And they're like, oh, dude, we could do so much with lights. And it's like, putting flashlights like that. And
I mean,
it's like,
there's some films. The problem is that some films that are not that great just lean into the aesthetics. I think this will do it. And it's like, nope.
You still need to have
mayhem.
You still have to have
like,
meat there.
Remember Evil Dead 1, the first Evil Dead, where he's running around the cabin, and you're like, what is this loop he's on? But it's like, it's like that kind of thing where it's like, this is crazy. This couldn't happen.
Yeah.
But like, I wanted something kind of like that level of, whoa. You know what I mean?
Well, Evil Dead though is just
methodic.
Evil Dead is such like a masterpiece of like, you know, just kind of being able to throw everything at the wall. Like, not to say Suspiria isn't, but like it does. Like, I don't know. Like it feels like they had like flashlights. They had flashlights. They had like those cool gels, and then they had like a weird looking girl that they spent the money on her prosthetics or whatever on her face, and then they kind of ran out of money. And it feels like what they did is they were like, okay, we're gonna have
right.
And then you go like that, and then I'm gonna shake the camera, and then you shake the flashlight, and then we're gonna have you hold the knife, and you plunge the knife, and into somebody, pretend they're there, tilt the camera, go up like this, and then we're going to just let a bomb go off, and then
why
she walks away.
So it's designed to look like Snow White. Why was that room
I thought
red,
that was cool.
white?
Well, remember the
black?
scene in
Why
the
wasn't
forest in Snow White?
Yeah.
I mean, that Snow White's about that has witches in it.
There's like no more. I don't know. I get 5-8 minutes of movie that could have made it like, damn.
I get.
Well, 8 minutes were really cut from the film, so maybe that's where all the style went.
But it was badass. I mean, I love this movie. It was.
They're like, keep all the style, and then the 8 minutes that explains it, we could cut that. Like,
yeah.
The 8 minutes with the coherent dialogue where they explain the story of the witches. We don't need that. Just we need the flashlight.
Don't tell.
We need.
What?
Twing, twing, twing.
We need a little. And how about you get a little? And they're like, all right, they should have gotten Michael Winslow, the guy that goes like, like the guy.
Oh my god, yes, who does all the sound effects?
Matt.
Yeah, Police Academy.
Yeah.
He does Jimi
And
Hendrix.
from Spaceballs, where he goes, the bleeps, the bloops, and the creeps, and he's like, the bleeps. They should have got that guy to be on it.
So good, I love him.
Or should have been like witches.
Put on the spooky sounds, the Halloween spooky sounds album that my grandparents.
I have one of those. I have
right?
one of those too from the dollar store, because I tried to have a Halloween party, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get spooky sounds.
I need to add some more set of just the bells from The Exorcist, and I gotta add Suspiria's score on mine.
So there's a collection of it's so weird that it's 1845. There's an 1845 from like this English writer Thomas de Quincey, and he was like on a shitload of drugs, but he was on like the old style drugs like opium and laudanum and all the like the hallucinogens that Mary Shelley was taking when she made up Frankenstein, like all those kinds of drugs. So he wrote about his hallucinogenic experience, Suspiria de Profundis, which was like a series of essays about like the crazy shit going on in his own mind and like navigating it or whatever. And it's like before even like the concept of like psychology, the way that like Freud had it even was there. Yeah. So they somehow took his essay book and they said that was the inspiration that they were using for Suspiria. And then on top of that, like they were looking into like stuff like Snow White or like fairy tales. So they wanted it to be like a children's fairy tale, and they wanted it to feel like that, which I think they do succeed at with the dialogue and stuff. But it's still like, I don't know, it makes it so that you don't really get a story out of it. Like
he walks so Forrest could run, and by that I mean lots of cocaine and other drugs. That was also Suspiria.
The guy's book was
Suspiria.
The guy's book was Confessions of an English Opium Eater.
Yeah, Suspiria in Latin means sighs. So it's like, oh, that's why they were doing a lot of sighing in that score.
Suspiria de Profundis, like the actual term is sighs from the depths. Look at this guy. This guy's more. Wait, let me pull up the picture of him. He's more zooted than Elon Musk. Look at this guy.
Oh
hell yeah! Look at him. That's what I look. That's what I looked like.
He's like.
That's like every time you ask that guy a question, he goes, "What?"
That's what. Yeah. That's what I looked like when my friends woke me up on Monday. They were like, "Time to go," because I was at a rave all weekend, and I looked like that. I was like,
"Oh wow!"
They're like, "Oh, we gotta."
Did you say Conan was on tour right now?
Yeah, Conan's on tour. He's during the when we get to what do you call it, the plugs. Why my brain is not my brain can come up.
I want to know if he's coming through here.
I think he's going to in October.
Yeah, that's why you got to come for my birthday party, because maybe we'll
October.
Go.
That's right. Okay.
Well, the weekend of my birthday, I think, so we could all travel down to Atlanta and see Conan perform, perhaps.
Oh, okay. Pick me up on the way.
I ain't going back to Atlanta. I got trapped there for 5
Yeah,
hours.
there's too much traumatic
I'll go.
experiences that I had in Atlanta.
I went to Caterwall like not last weekend because last weekend I was in DC, but I went to Caterwall a weekend before, and they like fucked with my bag to be like, oh well, we can't put this bag on the plane. You got to go all the way back. So I had to go down to the bag check-in area, and then they're like, oh, you missed your plane. We'll put you on one in a few hours. But I had to sit in the Atlanta airport for 5 hours and wait for another plane.
Telling you, Atlanta is the problem.
It's a busy hub. Yeah.
But it's like I don't know. It reminded me of there's like this stupid
My stories I told you.
No, there was a mall. There's a mall near me that like is now a casino. But like when it was a mall, it kind of had like this weird dingy kind of like off look to it, and
Like
which makes sense as a casino more than a mall. But like it was one of those like classic like 70s American mall kind of buildings, and that's what the fucking Atlanta airport had the same vibe as.
Oh wow, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been there in a while. But you know, I think that I'm glad you invited me for this movie because I don't know if I ever would have watched this again. I've seen it a few times, not since the 90s. I went maybe like 2003 or 4 or something like that, but that's a long time ago.
Yeah, it's like.
See,
Like,
I would have
really
thought
glad
as
I
like
saw it again.
as like an illustrator, like as someone that draws, like I would have thought this was like something that
Well-
maybe like you had
yeah.
resonated for the artistic reasons.
No, yeah, like this movie definitely came up in conversations in artistic circles, definitely, like on back in the day of message boards and stuff like that. People were definitely talking about it. I have distinct memories of that because it's so visually fun, right? And it's like
Yeah.
it lets you not care that it might not make total sense or have like the greatest plot or something, because it's like
Unless
it's
you're Conan, unless you're Conan, then you really do care that it doesn't have.
sometimes like if a
plot.
movie doesn't have a plot, it better be as fun to watch as this was.
Yeah,
you know what
I
I
don't know.
mean? Because
he was he was telling me at Caterwall. I was like, yeah, we'll do Suspiria. And I was like talking to him. He's like, the plot doesn't make any sense. I was like, no,
I
but
remember
it doesn't have to.
I brought up the remake of Suspiria. What movie
Yeah.
were we talking about? I brought it up and he said yes.
he does not-
I remember he was kind of dismissive of it.
He does not like it.
Conan is
So
very
there's like
dismissive of things. That's his biggest character trait on this podcast.
Yeah, I don't think it was
Peace and love.
offensive or anything, but I do remember now that because I mispronounced the title, and he said Suspiria. Yeah, he was like, I have to correct you, and let's move on.
I think the thing with him in this movie is that there's a lot of people that are like in film circles that are like really, really into this movie. And it's like, they're like, oh, this movie is like the best movie. And then I think his thing is like, I don't think he hates it or anything, but I think his thing was like, this is obviously not like the best movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is obviously like, for him, he's like, it doesn't even make sense. And it's like, it doesn't, but it's fun. It's fun to look at. I like looking at it. I like it as like a independent filmmaker kind of person, at least aspiring, and who's done like a lot of that kind of stuff. Like I love when they when you can see somebody do like the gels or something like that. You can actually see the way that they like project light onto the movie. Like I'm always like entranced by that. If you have cool lighting like that, I'll like, and your movie sucks, I'll still be like, wow.
Yeah,
that cinematography was crazy. I bet they did some cool stuff behind the scenes. Your movie could have no plot. It could be terrible. Like it could just be two people talking quietly in a room, and I'd still be like, that was a masterpiece because I could tell by the colors and the light.
I mean, Hard Candy with Elliot Page and Patrick Wilson kind of. I mean, the movie was good, I think, but the color and the palette was just like, woo, lighting.
What movie?
Really Hard Candy.
Oh yeah.
That was a good. I like the change in like the colors and the shadows when the mood changes for the characters. I like that too.
Well,
I mean, I obviously, yeah.
I don't like it in movies like Traffic, where it's like, now we're in Mexico, so it's yellow, and now we're back in the
but that's like
United
they've
States,
been
so
doing
it's blue.
They've been doing that. They've done that in so many. I don't know where that came. I guess Sicario is where that came
what
from.
About what about
so many people.
I felt like
like,
Sicario was kind of natural, but
remember all the blue filter in the Twilight movies?
Flatliners.
Breaking Bad literally like lead into every time there's like yellow. It's like every time they did like the yellow tint, it's like, oh, we're in Mexico now.
Remember the
They're
original
like,
Flatliners?
We're in all the
color weird.
Yeah, we don't talk about the remake. I remember the original.
They said you're in Mexico. You know,
And then what was I'm spacing the director's name that did Flatliners. He went on to do Batman movies, right? And they were the worst ones, but they had
Joel Schumacher.
Schumacher. They had like
Yeah.
the red and yellows, or like they'd be in the bad guy's lair, and the lighting was just like gels over the camera, right? It was just like, or the lighting, it was just like red. Now it's green. Yeah, I remember that like a turn.
I forgot he was the St. Elmo's Fire director.
Yeah.
Oh, I love St. Elmo's Fire.
Me too.
I
It's a
love
guilty
Demi
pleasure.
Moore killed in that last scene with her in her bedroom. That is so good. Oh my god, that movie's great. I've been to that bar in Georgetown.
He also did
Lost Boys is so fucking good, and he's
Lost
the Lost
Boys
director.
Family Opera.
Genius.
Not good.
We were listening to his he's
Bone
talking
Boys is
about
really
it.
good too.
He's talking about like how gay everybody in fucking in the Lost Boys is, and he's like, I told him it's fine to be gay, and it's like, yeah, we know you think it's fine to be gay, Joel Schumacher. Like,
I Lost Boys is one of those things where, again, I just suspend all my disbelief. I don't care. I detach. I'm like, I believe in this world.
yeah, but I think I don't know. It was really funny the way that like he was talking about it. But he's like, everyone was worried on set. They were like, this might be a little too gay, and he's like, and I told them it's fine to be gay, and it's like, yeah, we can tell,
like, we get it.
Can tell
But yeah, that
he was like Kiefer Sutherland was worried he was gonna look a little too gay, and I was like, it's fine to be gay. And it's like,
okay, so in the chat, Stevie says the characters in St. Elmo's Fire are insufferable. Correct.
Yes.
And like that's what I love. Like that movie is it just hit for me at the right age. I was like, do we all get to grow up and be sassy and lame in a way?
I mean, a lot of those movies, like Pretty in Pink, like pretty much all of those, like Breakfast Club, like, yeah, they're all the characters and those are insufferable too. Like I love those movies, but like any conversation in those movies is like kind of insufferable.
Well, like James Spader and Pretty in Pink, it's like, oh,
he was awesome in that. Better Off
still my favorite. One of my favorite.
That 50 Shades of Grey movie he did with Maggie Gyllenhaal. That was way before 50 Shades of Grey. And his character's last name was Grey.
Weird.
I like that one.
That was a weird one. I remember being really uncomfortable watching.
My favorite of all the John Hughes characters though has always been Ducky, but then I saw like 2.5 Men with fucking John Cryer, and I was like, I do not like you, dude. Like
he dressed up as Ducky for one episode, which was for a Halloween episode. Everyone's like, "Woo!" And I'm like,
he's so effortlessly cool in that movie, and then you watch 2.5 Men, and it's like this is everything I hate about a person. Like this character is everything I fucking hate in a person.
Yeah.
He's like lecturing his son, and I'm like, oh man, run away, kid. Your dad is not gonna give you good advice.
I think that I just have to say it one more time. Like, I'm gonna get off here and rewatch your Deliverance episode. I can't believe I didn't know. How did I miss it? I must have been traveling. 2 years ago made sense. I traveled a lot. I feel so dumb about that.
Lucky you.
No, it was boring. It was not. Sometimes I can make it fun, but for the most part, it's a hassle. There is so on my list, right? I think I've seen Inferno. I cannot remember it, right?
Yeah.
I have not seen, was it Mother of Tears?
Yeah.
Mother's Tears? It's not Mother's Tears, right? It's Mother of Tears.
Or is it Tears? Just kidding.
I
remember seeing Inferno too, because I was like, wait a minute, why does that movie seem familiar to me?
Should we have a group DM at least, or if not a follow-up episode about the rest of the trilogy? Or do you think Conan's out on that?
I mean, but he told like he's gonna be
those
on tour.
That make sense either.
Yeah,
he's gonna be on tour, like on and off, so we can do one when he's not here, and then we can come on for something when he is here too. You can be like, we can. He gets really bummed out when we do something like he likes, because he's like,
We
yeah,
can
we
at
don't
least
need to talk about
Like the
it.
Baby Jane episode, which he was cool with,
Yeah.
and then he got sad. And I'm like, what do you want us to do?
But I mean, I get like honestly, like as much as I give Cody grief about it, like I get really bad FOMO when I'm like, this is when I hate the term FOMO, but I get really bad like if I'm not in a conversation, I'm like, oh man, I had so much to say. Like, so I do feel where he's coming from on that, but it's like it's only so many movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we should do Inferno and Mother of Tears in like one episode.
One of them apparently is real like I don't know, like Argento apparently after a certain point never got like a good review on it. Like everyone's like, yeah, this kind of fell off.
Yeah, he did a
Oh,
Phantom of
I'd
the
love
Opera
to watch
movie where
that.
the Phantom is raised by rats and rapes his Christine, of course, played by his daughter. So
Oh wow.
yeah, that came out like in the late
You can,
90s.
you can still watch that?
Yeah.
The one that
It's
the one that
crazy.
the one that everyone talks about, the other one that everyone talks about is like Deep Red, and everyone talks about like how that's like one of the biggest examples of like giallo, like that kind of
okay.
style of filmmaking, which this is kind of, I don't know, people kind of debate whether it is like, but like a big part of it is like this is like the giallo, which to me seems like noir, like it seems like the Italian version of just noir. Like it's like, you know, because everyone debates like what is noir, and then everyone has an answer that like has, you know, always similar elements, but it's like, and they come from the same kind of pulp novel, but the Italian one is like giallo, which is like yellow because they're yellow pulp novels, and then the American one is like noir. Yeah, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and
There you go.
Yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
But yeah, you want to do letterboxed one-liners?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I love this part.
Letterbox is the place where film lovers, film haters, and film curious folks gather with to each other, talk about the films they love, the films they might have
Happy
hated, the
Pride Month,
films
film curious folks.
where they couldn't stop talking about how loud the score is or how vivid the colors were. It's not just the Siskel and Eberts of the world. Everyone gets to chime and opine. So here are the Letterbox one-liners for Suspiria. Actors, $2,000. Hair and makeup, $300. Dubbing, $1,050. Lighting, $12 million. Special effects, $750. Someone who is good at the economy, please help me budget this. My family is dying.
That is awesome.
We blow 12 million on the light bulbs. What do we do from now? Well, just make everything red, the blue. Oh, well, we're still talking about it.
Yeah,
right? this movie came out in 1977. It's 2025, and we're still very much talking about it. So maybe the budget went well.
Adjust this with inflation. This review may contain spoilers. Me getting murdered in a neon house of horror. Wow, I just love this aesthetic. Smiley face. Yeah, that's a mood.
I mean, you know, like there's so much interesting stuff. Like there's a whole scene that we didn't even talk about, like what's behind this, where everything's just gold. She's wearing gold, and this is gold, and that's gold.
Everything is gold. The walls,
like
the dress.
She's stuck in Trump Tower, apparently.
Yes.
Are those peaches? I think they are. I think it's a peach tree. Bring that back around.
They're you see Army Hammer. Hey, I got a peach for you.
Gold orb.
Army Hammer eats the peach, and then he's like, I have a taste for human now.
That's how it happened, I guess. All it took was Timothée Chalamet's sperm.
I have a taste for flesh.
Dario Argento wants to fuck the primary colors, and you know what? I think we should let him.
I mean, I feel him. I'm like, I don't know if you guys kind of, I'm like very sensitive isn't the word. I'm very like responsive, I guess, to color. Like I have a very
same.
Like when I mean maybe it's kind of like I've never really tried to put that into words, I guess. But like as a kid, I remember like there are colors that I would have like emotional and like emotional relationships with, but like emotional responses to that would like surprise me, like certain, you know, shades of yellow or certain shades of like orange, like they would have like emotional responses or like resonate with me in a way. So I do get like You know, he's like, I want to fuck the primary colors. I don't know why only 5 of these Letterboxd one-liners saved, by the way.
Yeah. The witch's electric bill must have been crazy.
Oh, turn on all the color lights.
Yes.
But you can hex your fucking electric company.
Yeah.
I wish I could. I wish I could hex my electric company. They're always raising the rates for no reason and then trying to get away with it. And there's literally hearings right now. There's hearings right now to try to like force them to lower the rates, but they're in a different country because a different country bought our electric company.
Oof.
It was originally public power. It was FDR era public power, and they've privatized it. And a bunch of Canadians, like a Qatari like shell company, and then a Canadian company bought our electric, and they just jack up the rates whenever they want. And it's like I would hex them. I'd be Pete Hexeth. You know.
Me at the dubbing in this film. Do y'all hear some? Me at the color red in this film because I see some.
That's that's literally the blind man.
Yeah.
Do you hear some? I do not see nothing. I see nothing, said the blind man. But yeah.
That's good.
So those are the Letterboxd one-liners for Suspiria. You can follow Forrest at Always Flacco and at the Movie Night Extra Letterboxd account. We gotta keep up with that.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, we're not. We're not. Just basically summaries of episodes and our discussions. And Matt, you're on Letterboxd, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, at the Letterhack.
Yep.
Sweet.
I haven't been watching a lot, but
yeah.
I was looking for guest ideas for this episode, and I saw Matt's. I think you only gave it 3 stars the first time you watched it, but I saw your review for it, and I was like, that's who I should invite on, Matt.
For Suspiria, yeah,
you had an entry for it.
I just looked back and I was like, I wonder what I was thinking when I wrote that, you know, or when I logged that.
I can still remember.
I'm Kristina, by the way.
I would put it to 4 now, but yeah, I don't know, maybe 3.5.
Yeah, I thought I gave it 3.5, but I gave it 4. But my first review was, that was awesome. I wish colors were real.
Yeah,
I don't remember that, but I do. So I don't remember any of my fucking Letterboxd one-liners or Letterboxd reviews, but I remember that one.
Yeah. I was just thinking about the most recent movie I watched that was like really tough. I wouldn't have been able to sit through it in the theater. Warfare. Alex Garland.
Yeah. How was that?
My wife gets really frustrated when I'm like, how come they're not doing this?
Yeah.
And so during this, she was like, can you please stop that? And I was like, hey, this is a true story. Are you fucking kidding me? These are our tax dollars. I was really upset. But it was tough. It was too real.
I made a joke on Facebook where I was like, I call it like the Iraq War revisionism movie because I haven't seen it yet. But
it wasn't
I was just like, I was like,
it was going to be at all.
Yeah, and I had like thousands of people yelling at me at Threads, which I check Threads like once every few months, and like it always has like 1,000 notifications of like something that I post on Facebook, not thinking about Threads because I don't think the posts also go to Threads. I just post on Facebook, and then it'll like sometimes something will like people will be yelling at it on Threads, and I'm like, this was like months ago. I don't remember this happening.
I muted a third
Threads?
of the movie at least. No. The Warfare. I had to. I was like, I can't listen. This is it was intense.
Yeah.
One element of it was so intense that I was like, can you imagine sitting in the theater? And my wife was like, no, we would have been out of there.
Well, the guy, the guy that mostly wrote and directed it, because Alex Garland like helped him, like the actual veteran.
Yeah.
He was the guy that also helped him co-write Civil War.
I love Civil War. I love that movie. It made no sense.
It made no sense.
That's how it's gonna be. It's not gonna make any fucking. If it goes down, it's not gonna make any sense.
Yeah, see,
be like, what is going on out there?
I finally saw it like I don't know, once it like literally like right as it came on to HBO Max. Like I didn't go to the theater to see it, and because everyone had like, I wanted to wait until everyone's opinions died down about it because everyone was
I thought I was gonna hate it. I thought I was gonna hate it, and then
I didn't.
When it was done, I was like,
I didn't
I'd
hate
watch
it
that again right now.
I mean, I'd probably watch it again right now. It's easy to watch, but I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Like I didn't love it as much as like Ex Machina or anything like that. But which is like a movie I really see. I love Ex Machina. I think Ex Machina is great, and I liked Annihilation.
I liked Annihilation. Did you see Dev or The Dev? I forget what it is. The series
I haven't seen the series, and I always mean to. I always mean to, but I don't really watch series that often.
That was a good
one.
I
don't
because it was only meant to. It was like a one and done, so you know when it's over.
Yeah. Everyone goes like whenever there's a good show, everyone goes, "Oh, you should watch it," and then it never like crosses my mind.
Is Alex Garland doing a lot of TV shows?
No, but cool. But that's not. Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like when
I know what you mean. Yeah.
When I'm bored, I just don't like. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch a movie. I never think like I'm gonna go watch a TV show. Really.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I like watching movies more than TV shows, I guess. But I also like didn't grow up. I also like didn't grow up with cable, so it's not something that like I'm programmed to. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's never really been something that I'm programmed to like think. You know? Like,
yeah, I get you. Yeah, right.
I mean, I felt like this is a really messed up thing to say, but when I got cable for like 4 years, like when I was like a teenager, like when I went through my car accident and I needed like I couldn't really go anywhere and like for a little while, and I was like my leg had to heal. We like ended up getting cable, and I felt like someone had introduced like alcohol to the Native Americans. Like it's just like I was constantly watching TV for like a couple years, and it was like, oh, this isn't good for me. Like they have like the story of like Europeans gave alcohol to the Native Americans, and because they had no like inherent tolerance to it, like that's where like the crippling alcoholism like comes from. Like that's how I felt about cable. Like I was like, I have no resistance to this. Like
yeah, you're like people use cable for medicinal purposes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, I gotta keep watching my medicinal cable. Like,
right.
Oh, it's medicine. Don't worry. Oh, look, we have a super chat. The Italian government fascist electricity company has Chile held hostages. Damn, that's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, he's in Chile, and it's,
wow.
We're being held hostage by Canadians, and I felt kind of bad because Trump like obviously was threatening Canada, and I was like, I'm not gonna tweet this. So there's a part of me that's like, please Trump, liberate our electric company. they're like, what has Canada ever done to you? Like, what has Canada ever done to you? And I was like, I don't think we should invade Canada, but I can name one thing, like this electric company. On the U.S. term was hard boiled. Yeah, a lot of times for the pulp novels, especially, but noir is kind of the pulp noir, hard boiled, eggs. You know, $15 I do too. Well, since pulp is like it's a very tangible. I like when a word is like solid and tangible, right? Like because they call it like pulp novels because they're like reprinted, recycled like newspaper, pretty much. Like it's that same thing they're printing books on because they're cheap. And it's like I like when a word has like a solid heft behind it, and I feel like pulp does. Yeah. I like the one that says some pulp. You know?
Yeah.
I like the one that says some pulp. Some pulp. This show is just it's turned into let's talk about our dreams and then like Sopranos references.
That's what I like about this show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get off here and go watch a previous episode of this show.
Yeah. By the way, do you want to do a little bit of a after party to promote? We can talk about.
I cannot do
the new. Okay.
I can't do that because that's what I have to do. I have to do behind the scenes stuff for that. That's why I'm gonna have your.
Is Sunday a good day to do a little test so I can know a little bit about StreamYard?
Maybe. Or what's Monday look like? I can double check.
Oh, Monday I could do Monday.
Monday definitely. I'll double check Sunday.
Yeah, cool.
StreamYard is way easier than OBS.
StreamYard simplifies everything. That's the way to look at it.
Because I've tried to use OBS, and StreamYard.
I still don't know how to use OBS. I've been streaming for like 4 years.
StreamYard is probably simplifies everything.
I would say on average 1,000 times simpler than OBS.
Yeah.
You literally just press the button and then you're streaming.
Yep.
Which is why, like, originally when I learned how to use this, it was because Ben Burgess was like, "Yeah, we're not going to do anything complicated. Let's just StreamYard. You can just press that button." I was like, "Yeah," and then I still forgot once to press the button.
That has never happened to me yet. But
I mean, I think it happened like the first. I was really nervous the first week I was doing it. I was like, "Do you mean this button? All right, let me see." And then it was like,
so fear.
But yeah, let's hit those plugs. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and then hit the bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. And we'd humbly request that you watch the video to the end because it helps us with the algorithm and helps more film fans to discover the show. We're also monetized. If you want to get your chat questions definitely read on stream, you can always send us a super chat, which will help us keep the show going. Every cent helps. If you're watching on Twitch, you can gift us a free sub on Amazon Prime with your Prime membership, but getting subs on Twitch is always appreciated, and it helps to follow us on there as well. We also have an audio feed, which is available wherever you download podcasts, if you prefer to listen to podcasts rather than watch the stream. That's updated usually the same day we stream, but watching on YouTube and Twitch is the best way to get the show first, live as it happens. If you want to support us with a monthly donation and get access to all of our after parties forever, which go patron only after we do them, you can become a patron at patreon.com/movie night extra. Link is in the description for that. It really helps us keep the show going since we do have some expenses to make this happen. We also have a Discord community. Link is in the description for that. We sometimes watch movies we cover on there. We get into conversations about everything from film to TV shows to related podcasts. We even have a Discord channel for memes. It's really fun on there. You can find us on all the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and Threads. You connect with us on all of those. Talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. Lastly, we recently made a TikTok at Movie Night Extra where we're putting up short form clips from the episodes. Okay, passing this to Conan so he can tell you about his music and this week's Protonic Reversal. Conan, who's on Protonic this week?
Well,
yeah, so he's on the West Coast, and I should have had it up and ready, but I think tonight he was playing in I want to say Sacramento, but hold on. I gotta pull up his deets real quick.
His Instagram is so fun. I feel like I'm there. I feel like he is nonstop good time.
Yeah.
I mean, I just was there for a few days.
I bet it was a blast, right?
I wasn't.
And there's a picture of me trying to eat a piece of pizza with my mouth like this.
Yeah, y'all were drunk as hell, weren't y'all?
I only had one beer. I only had one beer the whole time I was there. I was just having a good time. I don't know. But yeah, right now he's hold on. He doesn't make it easy to pull up these dates, does he?
He had like one graphic, right?
Here, Kristina, go for plugs.
Oh, okay. So this space we are joining my Kristina's Corner every Tuesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern on the YouTubes, on the Space YouTube. So check that out. I'm excited, very, very excited, because I saw the lineup and I'm like, yeah. This is awesome. And you can add even more people. We can go on, Yeah, it's gonna be happening. Been streaming on the Twitch and talking about the Trump Elon feud, which is so great. Talked about the Wicked for Good trailer and all the Wizard of Oz Easter eggs because I pay attention to everything Wizard of Oz related.
Have they announced who Dorothy is yet?
No, I don't think. It'd be interesting. A lot of people are predicting that they won't show her face
at all in the movie or in the trailer.
In the trailer, or even in the movie. Also, Toto's on a leash, which a lot of people are going to assume that's why Alphabet hates Dorothy.
No, I think they're going to show her face. The theory that I'm going with, because I've seen
Abigail.
is that it's the girl from Abigail, and I hope that's true, because that would be really awesome. Because they had her come to a bunch of like the events and stuff like for free.
Yeah.
Also, it would suck if they didn't show her. Like, they should definitely show her face. Like,
yeah,
I know that
CGI Judy Garland, and I'm like, no, she's still too young. That's too young.
CGI Tupac.
Yeah,
Tupac. You put Tupac in there.
Yeah.
We got money for war, but can't feed the poor. Like, all right, calm down, Dorothy.
Yeah. And we're still watching Dark Shadows. We're still stuck in 1897. God, get me out of here. Also, tomorrow night after Shadow Saturday, we're going to be watching Sinners in the Discord. Oh, yeah.
Nice. Cool.
I'm excited. I bought it. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to buy it.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's on VOD right now. All right, what is it coming on a streaming service? Like, it's
Max, it'll be on HBO Max, right? Because it's Warner Brothers. Yeah, it'll be on HBO Max.
It's back to being HBO Max. Now we just got to make sure that they take the Mario Cuomo bridge and they put it back to the Tappan Zee, and I'll be happy. But by the way, no, go ahead.
We were one of the fun videos that we did was from the React channel. Guess the song from the year 1999, and any of y'all know me, that was my year of music. I got there was 30 rounds. I got each and every one right. Guess in 1 second. Yes. Guess the songs in 1 second. Guess songs in reverse, slow down, lyrics, emojis. Oh, so because if it's just 1 year, it's easy to guess and pinpoint. But I listen to songs from the late 90s all the time, so I'm good.
I feel like, I don't know. It's funny, that was my year of music. My year of music, and your year in first grade. So I guess it's 3 hours. 3 hours behind, so it's only 7 right now. I don't know what time it starts, but Conan is in Palmdale, California, at Transplant Brewing Company right now. If you're there, I don't know if they're still. I have no idea about that. But June 7th, San Diego, Till 2 Club with Cosmic Kitten and Holy Tears, and June 8th, he is in Ella, Slipper Clutch with Cosmic Kitten and Tragic Radicals.
Ooh.
In Ella.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Matt, let's hear this pitch for your new streaming service.
Well,
TYT's going down.
Yeah. You can always catch me. You can always catch me.
What is it? What is it technically? Streaming network, I guess, is the correct term.
It is a media collective. That's what we're calling it. It is a media collective called This Space. It is for and by working class people. It embraces the viewers as much as it does a variety of hosts, all of which you already know. And if you don't, you will. We are trying to get we have gotten a mix and a blend of live stream original content, like all original shows like Kristina's and mine, and also syndicated content, so that because imagine your YouTube subscription list, right? Like all the channels you subscribe to. Well, what if that was one channel? Pretty cool, right? And it was just like a constant stream, and it was just back-to-back programming. So that's what we're trying to do, and we're trying to give we're trying to create through constant viewer engagement, we believe, sustained for as long as possible, we believe that we can build a platform worthy of promoting candidates, campaigns, covering elections, without it just being like, oh, there's an election, let's cover it. Like, we want to do it justice, and we want to build up ways to support movements. We want the online left to inspire boots on the ground. Until now, the online left has just kind of been like a dirty word, right? Like, oh, there's a lot of infighting and drama. We want to solve the problems with the online left that people constantly raise. And so this is our effort to do that. It's going to be fun. I have a show on there Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern called Hey Funny Book, talking about art and comics and politics. And then that leads right into Left Past 10, which is on there now. There's a whole variety of people. I like the concept that people are actually going to be scheduling out, when they go on, because it's been such a, I mean, you know this part. But you know this, it's been such a shit show with everybody streams at the same time, and it's like, if everybody you kind of know is streaming at the same time, nobody's watching each other's streams. They're like, oh, we're all streaming it simultaneously. And let's say that you don't want to stay up for 3 hours and watch their group panel show that comes on at 10 o'clock at night or whatever. Okay, well, now we are replaying the previous weeks at a more reasonable hour. So you have an option to catch up on all that stuff. So, yeah, we're trying to make everything more accessible, and we're trying to show strength in numbers. And I always say kind of snarky, like, if somebody has a better idea, I'd love to see the last 12 months of your labors, right? Because that's how long it's taken to put this together, just about a year.
Oh, you're going to be on Majority Report as well to promote it.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. We're looking to get on Majority Report one day next week, either Monday or Tuesday. Hopefully it'll be Tuesday, and we just lead right into the debut show, which starts. There's a countdown.
What would you do if all of a sudden you got to Majority Report and it was like a hit, like they're doing like a hit on you because it's like, because they have their own network with a bunch of shows. They're like, oh, this guy's coming in here. He's some network.
Or you know, you got John from San Antonio coming in on your stream, and that's why Sam's a little.
Myself especially, we have become experts at monetizing anything. Like, there's nothing you can do that I couldn't put to use.
Yeah, I need help with that, because I've seen your stuff so on point, more than like I don't do any of that shit. I'm just like, hey, come talk about movies with us and see movies, talk about movies.
You got to start a fight. There's no better business model for having a YouTube live stream than a beef.
Yeah. No, I trust me, I know that. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I'm just not like, what am I gonna do? Oh, this movie's good. This, like, if I was doing like a political show, I could easily do that, and then I could.
Which is what me and you, Ravana, are trying to do.
Well,
maybe
Ravana,
we can add that to this space.
Bring it on.
Said she definitely wants to do it. I was talking to her the other day. She's studying for the bar right now. When she passes her bar, she said she wants to podcast with us again. It'll be crazy to like have a friend that's like passed the bar. Well, I mean, I know a lot of people that have passed the bar, I'm sure, but like, you know, like it's crazy to like have like a close friend that you're like.
But keep in mind that we'll be able to. Oh, I want to talk about a lawyer real quick, but keep in mind that we'll be able to add shows. Like, whatever you see in the first week, that's wave one. Like, if we haven't invited somebody, you're probably on our list. We just didn't want to start out of the gate too big, but it's already pretty big.
Yeah,
you even got KT on there, even though she broke up with us.
Well, but that's the thing, is like a lot of these shows we don't have like a full block of every hour a new show. And so I said, KT, you've got a whole bunch of like shorter content that we could just sprinkle in, and that's perfect for what are we going to do for 5 minutes? Play one of these. What are we going to do for 10 minutes? Play two of those.
Everyone's talking about, you know, like, oh, we need a left-wing Joe Rogan. We need a left-wing Rush Limbaugh to fill that airspace.
You know what we need? A left-wing lawyer. Maybe we can get, I don't know what kind of law Ravana is studying, but like, we need somebody who every time a YouTube channel gets like taken down for no real reason, or they don't give you legit reasons, or you deal with AI bots like trying to argue why you should get it back. We need a lawyer who can just call YouTube and be like, yeah, make this right. We need like an activist lawyer for lefty live streamers.
Although the people that actually kind of do that are like more content managers, I think, than, because I knew somebody that was working for a network that like the network would be what I. Well, the network on you, but like when I was working on TMBS, I don't know if you know. Do you know Vic Viana?
Yeah. I know that name. Yeah.
So he was working at the same time as helping us get the channel together. Like he was like working with us, and then he ended up getting AJ Plus. He got a gig at AJ Plus, and then he said, "Oh, I'll help you get a gig at AJ Plus," and then he didn't do it. But I never followed up. I'm not good at. No, I'm just not good at following up with people. I forget.
Well, but what we're doing is
so what I was saying is he was telling me about like how the YouTube stuff works behind the scenes, and it's like it's a whole different ball game when it comes to like, you know, professional companies that are big enough. I mean, even I think probably a company like TYT, but like they give you like guides to like cracking the SAO, and like they give you like a lot more information than you get as just like a small time content creator. But I mean, I think some of that is also the network thing, and you can build your own network as an independent network, but they like give like legs up to like the big networks.
Well, so we're gonna be doing things like we handle all the optimization. If you stream with us, we will clip videos and put your name in the title. Like right now, it'd be pretty weird for you to be like, always Flacco destroys Ben Shapiro about yourself. But if we clip it and put your name in the title saying
Although
something
that's totally what Ben Shapiro would do about himself.
I know. That's why it fucking works. But like, we're too good for that. So like, we'll be doing that for people, and we'll be promoting the hosts and the content creators. Will be promoting how to monitor or support them monetarily.
Ben Shapiro destroys Palestinian refugee.
Right. But I think it's going to be cool. I mean, we're going to be giving people a boost who are smaller creators or just newer. You know, there's no reason why you couldn't be a part of this. So we're taking everyone who wants to get on board. It's just a matter of time before we're going 24/7. That's what we're hoping for.
It feels I don't mean this to be like, you know, like, because I really like that these things still exist, but it feels almost like when people used to like get a like collective public access channel or something. You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like, and
that's what we've been
like,
saying.
Yeah, and you can you just have content that's like goes on there.
We want Wayne's World on there, man.
I used to love the concept of like public airwaves. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the fact that like anybody in like a municipal area can really like put their own
like
stuff
Air
on
America,
TV.
but video.
Yeah, and you can change your show. You can be on there for a week and change the platform or the format completely. Do whatever you want. Like, we're not. There's really the only rule is the only real strict rule is be inclusive. Like, be cool. Like, no slurs. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be don't get us copyright strikes. Like, pretty
getting pushed out of the leftist collective for dropping the N-word.
Yeah, like, we're bringing people on because we trust them already, you know? So there's a lot of that. But anyway, it's going to be fun.
I just, you know, I used to think about this a lot, and like, I'm sure we'll talk about this more, and I'm sure I'll like eventually be on your show or something. We could talk about this, but like in more detail. But I used to think about this a lot working because I was working at one point for like 4 podcasts at once. Like, I was working for Ben Burgess. I was working for before they like kind of officially stopped making new stuff. Like TMBS was still going, Left Reckoning, like all these shows that were kind of intertwined. And I was always thinking about how like you really see, and I think some of this is the fact that a lot of the same people book for like big shows, but like there's like a circuit, and I've always liked the concept of like having like a left media circuit where like somebody drops a book and then they get to go on all the same shows, right? Like I've always wanted there to be like a centralized agencies, I guess, because I think otherwise things fall apart. Where it's like, I mean, maybe that's like too much of a CIA word, but like centralized, like a booking kind of thing, right? Where it's like all these shows kind of have the same person helping book it, or like all these shows are the same, people, like a team of people that like help get somebody onto all these different left platforms, because otherwise everyone's kind of just screaming into the void, or they're attacking each other, because really it's just shared real estate. Like, if nothing's really going on and you're not like I loved how cohesive things were for the last couple of years I worked for TMBS, because it was like everybody was going on each other's shows to like promote, like, Bernie, or like to go like start a podcast to like promote the Bernie Sanders campaign, or like, it was cohesive because there was a similar unified goal. And I feel like what really happened is when that goal falls off, everyone's like, well, we share an audience, so I want the views, and another person's like, I want the views, and that's where like those clashes between people really start, more than like an actual clash of ideas.
That's why we say this is more for as much for the viewers as it is for the content creators, because we're giving people a chance to just hang out for hours at a time. You could just anytime you turn this on, there should be something going. It's not like I'm spread too thin. Who do I watch? Yeah. Oh, I'm burnt out. I mean, I guess you could get burnt out watching a single stream for like 9 hours, but we're really gonna
tell me about it.
Yeah.
I like, as much as I don't think like debate, I guess, as a format is as good as like a lot of the people that are really into it think it is. Like, the thing I always respect about like working for Ben Burgess was that like he would have these disagreements, and instead of being like, oh, we're gonna bury this person's like whatever, he would be like, all right, let's have it out on the show, and let's we can talk about it. And like, I've always appreciated that as like I mean, when it gets too debatey, I'm like, all right, I just don't think it does very much. Like, all right, 2 public intellectuals came to some middle ground. Like, it doesn't help policy or anything, but I always appreciated when this clash of ideas or whatever could be hashed out like as like a thing that people watch, because at least they get more educated from that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
rather than just like petty squabbling that people are like, well, you're never coming on my show. And I'm like, well, you're never coming on my show. And it's like, that doesn't seem like it helps the audience at all.
That's why I've never been that guy. If there's somebody I don't want on the show, I just don't bring it up. It's not like I would talk about it. And so that afforded me to acquire a pretty sick Rolodex. And so when I also first had this idea, I was like, I'll just bust that out.
I don't think you have to talk, like you have to want to talk to everybody. That's definitely not what I'm saying.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean? Like,
but it gave me
you could decide like, hey,
where people get back to you, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But I like there's a also it didn't hurt that you draw everybody, and everybody in the media space is like, I love being on camera. And if you're like, hey, what if I draw you? They're like, I love being on camera and I like being in a cartoon.
Right, I know.
Including me. I'm not, you know, I'm not saying that's an inherent, but
some
like
people don't like it, but they're few and far between.
Well, those people are ugly. No. But I always I liked the idea of like kind of a circuit where everyone could promote their stuff together collectively, which is supposed to be the whole like left thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not supposed to be like,
and that's why we'll have like open house style shows where it's like, hey, for the next 3 hours on this space, anybody could come through. You know what I mean? And it's like,
if you feel strongly about municipal policy, come on down.
Yeah, no, but we're gonna be doing like, we have ideas for doing like game shows and stuff. It's gonna be fun. Audience participation. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We get pretty much sky's the limit.
Trivia's right up my alley.
Yeah.
I just think like
ask me about the
there's
'80s.
there's an over reliance, I think, on discourse as like a object for change. But I also think that like I also think like having the most ideas possible rather than kind of gatekeeping ideas, right? Like gatekeeping like the possibility of ideas has always been something that's like at least like logically resounded with me, right? Like it's like you can have all these different people, like somebody might have an experience that you've never had, and then that could build towards something, or that could build towards somebody's like work, like writing, or that could build towards somebody's like, you know, it's like some really like intelligent stuff that people could put out there. But you know, like I feel like gatekeeping is like such an automatic thing for, you know, levels of power, and it's like it gets us stuck as like a society, because it's like these like, and the people are wrong over and over again too. It's like guys that are wrong about the Iraq war are like, okay, here's what we need to do now, and it's like, how about like new ideas? Like there's so many people saying so much stuff, and it's like, are we not no new ideas, huh? We're in the century of abundance, and that's all we are now. But yeah, I don't know. Those are just thoughts. We should talk about this on a stream one day. I think I'm gonna go.
I'd love to.
I think I'm gonna go on with the Vanguard at some point soon. They invited me on, and they want to talk about like similar like left media stuff.
Oh yeah, right on. I was co-hosting with Zach last week, a couple weeks ago, just talking like, because Gavin was out of town, and I was like, yeah, I'll come on, and we just shot the shit for like an hour and a half about just exactly that. And I was on Raw News and Politics recently talking about how the Democratic Party is trying to get donors to fund a for-profit network of podcasts. Have you heard about this? And like,
yeah, there's all Joe Rogan. We need a Joe Rogan for the left.
Really,
but I think like a lot of people agree Hassan is probably the Joe Rogan of the left, and even he's like, oh,
I have an idea that I want to like pitch to, which is America's Next Top Rogan. And so America's Next Top Rogan, they instead of doing it, oh, it was a for-profit, blah blah blah, we're gonna go behind the scenes. No, democratic. You put it out there like a competition, a TV game show competition, and we find America's Next Top Rogan. We find a new Joe Rogan, but you have to do it like you know, you have to do it in front of people, and they have to be able to democratically vote their minds. You know, it'd still probably be Hassan, but. At least you get content out of it.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of like because they talk about like America's Next Top like you know, comic or whatever. I like the idea that you're on like America's Next Top Rogan season 4, and so you just have a back room. You have a back room with like 4 different Joe Rogans, like new ones. You're like, we need a. What about this year? What if this year we have a black Joe Rogan?
Yeah, and like
then
people are
everyone's
trying to
like,
go out on stage with a friend, and you're like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "This is the guy that I say to look stuff up on Google when I don't know
yeah,
what to do, and
this
it's
is
my
this is
Jamie
my
or
own,
whatever."
yeah, this is my, but like, I like just, is America ready for a Black Joe Rogan? Because
That would be that'd be good. Let's do it.
yeah,
That's a great
so
idea.
I think the DNC should talk to me and not Olivia, whatever the fuck her name is.
Yeah.
I think the DNC should. I think I have ideas. I have ideas. I have an abundance of ideas. And I mean, the top one is really just America's Next Top Rogan, but
that's awesome.
I don't know. I've been thinking about that for a few weeks. It's a work in progress.
Make notes.
I mean, I just think the infrastructure's already there. We have one Joe Rogan. You can clone him.
There you go.
Without the
You
weird
can do it.
nipples.
You can do it.
Yeah, the weird nipples are that shows they already have tried cloning him. They just keep taking parts of his nipples.
Ew, those are goat nipples.
Yo, do you know that they employ goats like to eat poison ivy on the side of the road?
What the fuck?
What? Why? Can we just get to the final thoughts?
No, there's
Jamie, look that up. Yeah, let's do final thoughts.
All right. So Kristina, final thoughts.
Yeah, I love this movie so much. The reason why I watched this movie was because I think Juno mentioned Suspiria and the Wizard of Gore. So I watched both of those. Wizard of Gore, not that great. But yeah, I was like a teen. I was like 14, 13 when I watched.
I haven't thought about Juno in like
I know. I love that movie. But like great use of color, cinematography, editing. The score could be even louder than it already is. The dubbing is so obvious, but it just, adds a little flair to it. It is considered one of the best like horror movies, particularly like in the 70s at least. I highly recommend it. If you guys haven't, if you're like, I want to watch a Dario Argento film, this is the only film of his you can watch. You should watch at least. Don't watch anything else. Just watch Suspiria.
Word. I feel like I wish somebody could like this is my version of Suspiria.
That's awesome. I noticed.
I'm trying to. No, I feel like they should somehow find a way to get Tommy Wiseau into Suspiria. Like they should find a way to like just YouTube him in there because they did it with Star Wars. And it worked. They had Luke Skywalker on when they finally find him in The Last Jedi or whatever, and then they have he's throwing a fucking football at Mark Hamill's head, and they got it to work perfectly.
That it's hilarious.
I feel like they should have like Tommy Wiseau just in Suspiria. It's a coven. It's a coven, Mark. Like,
I'll just reiterate that. Sometimes where plot and reason fall off, it can be bailed out or rescued from aesthetics. And I know it's cliche with this movie to say something like that, but the aesthetics were the main part of the experience, and not just because it was, the last Technicolor or like groundbreaking in terms of making a cartoon nightmare or something like that, but like it really is a must see for those reasons. And if you find yourself asking, what the hell is going on? Why am I watching this? What does this mean? What's going to happen? Just let go and just enjoy it for the visual and audio experience.
Yeah.
Even if it's
like,
not good.
It's like when people do Dark Side of the Wizard of Oz or whatever.
I do all those things, yeah.
But it's like it's almost like that, like you could just let it go and be like, look, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And you probably be really high in the middle of it. So
I've never done it sober.
Yeah.
That way.
But yeah, I agree. I agree with all those things. I also think what do you know about witches? It's such a Tommy Wiseau ass line, and I really wish.
What do you know about witches?
or the line when she's talking to the psychiatrist, and he's like, a group of witches. A coven of
Mark.
witches is what they call it. Like,
coven of witches.
Luca Guadagnino one, I think it could have been like half the length. We get it. Germans are scary and Nazis.
It's like 3 movies.
Thanks. That makes me feel better as a German, by the way. 69%.
It's
Nice.
3 movies. It's 3 movies.
Yeah.
They could have just made it 2. I guess.
And then they're like, we need
Like-
more exposition.
It's the doctor, the mother, and the ballet. You know what I mean? Like
a doctor, a mother, and a ballet walk into a bar. And the bartender says, and then the bartender says, and the bartender says, "What do you know about witches?"
Yeah,
but although I didn't mind watching Dakota Johnson for those 3 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours, however long it is.
She's single. She's single, Forrest.
There you go.
See, I watched it the same day that news broke, and I was like, "Yeah, this is because I somehow ended up accidentally hexing her by watching."
It's funny.
She broke up with the guy from Coldplay. Somehow it made perfect sense that she was with the guy from Coldplay out of everybody. Like,
yeah,
it's like she's a Coldplay ass lady. I think she's listening to Viva La Vida in the car on the way to work. I don't even know what
I haven't heard that song in a long time.
I went one of the first concerts I ever saw was Coldplay because my parents, one of the first concerts as a teenager, because my parents were going through a divorce and my dad was got really into Coldplay for some reason. I don't really understand. It's like it is ambient music. It's like it's like he would be in the car just listening to like ambient sound pretty much. Like that's how I felt about them anyway. Yeah, but they threw like these giant yellow beach balls. They had the song Yellow and they threw beach balls at the audience, and I liked that. I thought it was cool.
I like that song.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
They're like yellow, and you're all yellow.
Oh,
must be Mexico. Must be Mexico.
So to plug the last couple things, Tuesday, Goodfellas.
Wow.
Great.
Yeah.
Goodfellas.
Finally, it's
Henry
the episode
Hill.
y'all been waiting for years.
Cool. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be great, fellas. And then following that is Jackie Brown, my favorite Tarantino movie that under discussed. And we're gonna be talking to Josh from the Good Kind Rewind. Probably said that wrong, but the podcast. And then also we're hanging out with another Josh, the Afternoon Tune Josh, and the after party on Tuesday. So plenty of stuff going on in the world of movie night extravaganza. Back from a 2-week break. I think that's why I rambled on so much today. It's been 2 weeks and I haven't gotten to just expound upon hanging out with like friends in like real life, and they're like, oh, you can't go on a rant about you can't go on a rant. You can't go on a rant about America's Next Top Rogan. Sorry, we don't have time for that. So so DNC, hit me up. I think America's Next Top Rogan is your $1 million idea. And yeah.